Good evening. Welcome to the first of our budget workshops for the fiscal 2026 year. I'm Mayor Bianca Motley Broom. We have a full quorum present with council members McKenzie, Karn, Arnold, and Gay. And so we are going to get going here at 6:41 p.m. At this time, I'll turn it over to the city manager.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the workshop for 2025-26 budget workshop. It's after the workshop that a proposed budget, because there will be addition and deletion that will be taking place in this workshop. And once that's done, a proposed budget will be published to all the residents and citizens of College Park. And after the proposed budget, then a final budget will be approved by council. And this stage one of 4. This is a workshop, then be proposed, then be addition and deletion, then a proposed budget, then budget approval by the governing body.
All right. Mr. Jackson, did you have anything to add before we hop into the Public Works Administration?
I do not.
All right, so then we are on page 2 of 125 here, starting with Public Works Administration. Any questions on page 1? I'll have this.
Where we at now?
Mine is electronic.
Public Works Administration.
Public Works Administration.
I have a question. Line 51, 5190. Is there, well, actually, it's not just that whole, the expenses, the first part. I guess it's 51, 50, 10 through 5190. That section where, and also just a clarification from Mr. Jackson, where we're seeing 2025 amended budget, should that be amended budget there, or is that what we are year to date? I mean, what does that represent as we're going through these pages today? Because we did not do a specific budget amendment. So just a point of clarification, when we look at the titles here, I see 2024 actual amount, then I see 2025 amended budget, 2025 actual amount. So is the 2025, what I'm assuming it is the amount that was approved?
So yes, Mayor Pro Tem, that's correct, your assessment. It should say 2025 original budget.
Okay.
There were technically no amendments, as I understand it, at this point in fiscal year 2025. Okay.
So that helps a lot. So basically, when we look at this, we're seeing 2024's actual. We're comparing that with, of course, our 2025 is the actual or original budget.
Correct.
And 2025 actual amount, that's our year-to-date spending, correct?
Correct.
And meaning year-to-date through March 31st. Is that the date that we're looking at?
Correct.
Just wanted some clarification. Okay. And so with that being said, I see that we have our original budget for 2025 in this first section. The expenses on page 1 is 54,438 over 45,141.91 in 2024. I just would like to get an understanding of how we have an increase to 91,261 in the budget recommended. Just if you could kind of let us know where that is coming. It looks like salaries, but we don't have a breakdown I did request earlier today, but it was pretty late in the evening. I hope by tomorrow that we'll be able to see a breakdown in terms of the salaries, the positions, so that we can understand. Appearing, it looks like salaries operating are going from 53,670 this year to 89,993. Is that correct?
So yes, Mayor Pro Tem, as I understand it, the salary information is provided by our HR department. And so the Public Works Director's salary is spread across multi-subdivisions under Public Works.
Okay. And so I guess what I'm saying, I did not see, unless I'm missing something, I did not see an additional position added to the 2026 budget. So how do we get from the department head requested 57,511 for 2026, but the actual recommendation of the city manager is 91,200? So I just want to understand, is there another position? And that's why I'm asking for HR to give, somebody needs to give us that information.
Okay, I can.
No, that's.
Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? Oh, I gotta hold it down?
No, you don't have to hold it. You shouldn't have to hold it down.
Okay, all right. So, you remember last year, we had the same discussion, and we had to have them to bring in the salary information, like mid-discussion. And I thought that when we left last year, we were told that we were gonna get it, when we started having these conversations. But I agree that we definitely need that information.
Yeah, and one of the reasons this is important to me, because I am very much struggling, and I'm going to be very verbal every single meeting that I'm here. I am struggling with persons who work in this city making $16 an hour. And even I hear that there has been word of a 5% increase across the board. That is not acceptable for me, because if you're making $16 an hour, a 5% increase is only 80 cents on the hour. It takes you from $16 an hour to $16.80, and that is not going to help somebody buy bread at the grocery store. I want to see what our current salaries are as we go through this budget. I am going to be adamant about not necessarily a 5% increase across the board, but I want the persons who are making the lowest hourly salaries to receive some type of increase in this new budget. So I'd like to look at, if we're 5% is the number we're looking at, whatever that comes, I'd like to know also what the 5% comes out to in terms of all salaries. And then I would like for us to, position by position, look at the persons who are making, and especially when we started hiring persons in positions and giving them $25 an hour, bringing them on brand new, and then you have people who have been here for years who are still at 16. And I'm not advocating for $25 an hour, but I am advocating that we look at the persons that are on the lowest end of the salary, hourly salary, and begin to help get them up, and then of course take the rest of our staff. So I do want to see that information when we continue the budget on tomorrow.
Mayor, may I make a statement?
Yes, sir.
For those of you who this is your first budget, I would like to offer some advice. Towards the end of our budget session, there is an opportunity to make changes, revisions, recommendations. What I've learned is that this budget is so voluminous, we just can't line by line have long conversations. We won't get through this. And there will be an opportunity, because I was the same, there will be an opportunity to express your desires, your interests. But what this generally does is that we kind of at this point kind of accept their recommendations. If there's some like numbers are not adding up correctly, that's kind of what we're here to do. There is an opportunity to even change. So that's my recommendation to my colleague.
Yes, and I do understand that, Councilman Gay. This is my second budget, and I was just making a statement that that is what I'm going to be pushing for towards as we get to the close. But again, I would still like to have the information as we go through the budget so that I can understand what's going on in each of our departments.
Well, I got a couple of things I want to touch on. The first thing, we've always made changes to the budget as we've gone along. Now, it's a long document, and we're going to move fast through this thing. Generally, we move pretty quickly, but we are able to make changes as we go, as we did last year. And in terms of that salary increase, the last time we had the salary increase, it was skewed towards 60,000 and up. We had 3 different options from a salary study. We weren't shown the 3 options. We were given one particular option which skewed to the higher paid salaries. And that was a very, very unfair thing for everyone south of $60,000 or so. They got very, very little. The lowest paid rate was as low as close to $16, and the increase was maybe 28 cents, I think, going by that. It was also based on tenure, which seems like a fair arbiter and a fair evaluation, but you have to keep something in mind. Those who make more money have been here longer, number one. Number two, if your salaries are low, you're not going to stick around to get those years in terms of the increase. So it was, I believe it was skewed, and I think this time we need to look at skewing it back the other way, where the workers that make 60 and south should get the lion's share of the increase. You want to provide for everybody? Absolutely, and we want to be fair. But in fairness, the last salary study and increase was not fair, in my opinion.
Thank you for your opinion,
Now,
sir.
if you make $70,000, $80,000, I'm sure it was very fair. However, everyone doesn't make that. And $1 raise, if we go from $16 to $18, in my opinion, I don't think anyone in this city should make less than $20 an hour. That's just my opinion. But that dollar increase or $2 increase, it doesn't mean a whole lot. It doesn't mean as much, I would say. If you're making $89,000 or $78,000 or $69,000, $2 increase is great, but it's not going to make or break your situation month to month. However, if you are making $17 an hour, that $2 increase can make the difference in terms of whether your family is going to eat or have to pay the light bills. That difference is gas money. That difference is very, very dramatic on the lower spectrum of the salary ranges. So we want to look out for all of our employees. And keep in mind, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of our employees aren't in upper management and on the high end of the salary scale. We want to keep that in mind. Not that upper management works any harder or any less hard than our lower tier laborers and so on and so forth. But everybody rolls up their sleeves and puts in a hard day's work, and they deserve to get compensated. So we want to definitely look at that, not in terms of equality, but equity. It's a big difference. So I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, sir. We've talked about this before, and I pulled up that salary study with all 3 options, and I think that there are some misperceptions about what that was. And we talked last year about the opportunity to do another salary study so we don't run into the issue of pay compression, where we are lifting. I think everyone agrees that we want to make sure that our employees are compensated fairly for the work that they do. What we can run into is having some of the lower paid employees getting close to people who are supervising them if we're not looking at this in totality. And that's really important in terms of ensuring that we create a fair, stable work environment and motivate everyone. Because if we're asking someone to do 3 times as much work for $1 an hour more, we're going to have some issues. So I think it's important, I said it last year, I'll keep on saying it again, that we look at this in totality. Because everyone that I know in this community who shows up and does this work day in and day out is committed to College Park. And I certainly understand that doing a 1% across the board would benefit higher paid employees more. And so last year we We listened to Councilmember Arnold in regard to that, that if you had a certain salary above a certain amount, you got a flat rate, and everyone else got a percentage below that. I
Mayor,
believe that's,
can you tell me what y'all are talking about? Which
we
line
are
item?
just in the first
I
part.
mean, I want
And
to
so,
say, I want to say this respectfully.
let's
Now-
move it along.
Now, Ward 4, I'll do this budget from the comfort of my home office. And if I see that there's something that's going to affect your quality of life, I will certainly send an email or chime in. But what I am not getting ready to do is sit here while we go off script and procrastinate on these mics. Now, this is a process that we do every year. I've been here since 2015. So we're not going to just have sermons every time we get to a line item. When we start the budget yet, it's 7 o'clock.
Sir, I don't want to do sermons. Does line 515010 include any salary increases?
What has always been done, not only here, the public works director, being that he or she supervises different divisions, so the salary is divided.
I understand that. Does this incorporate any increases for any employees who are currently there?
No, ma'am.
All right.
Rose, we may want to, for the next meetings, get the, any increases, in terms of, I guess, department heads or whatever have you, so we kind of know going forward as we go through.
I've got a question on line 525730. Our actual amount right now is nearly 200% over budget. What's going into that number? What are we doing on that line?
What are you talking about? Where are you at now?
525730, repair and maintenance, depreciation equipment,
On what page?
page 1.
Why do I not see 200%? You're saying I don't see anywhere where it's saying 200%.
It's 198.
Oh, 198, okay.
I said we're nearly 200%.
Okay, I was looking for the 200. Okay, thank you.
What have we been spending on there? And why are we zeroing it out for the next year?
Well, Mayor, just to give a little clarification about the budget, our IT department has made a recommendation to roll up all telephone, communications, IT-related computer transactions up to the IT department. So what you see currently on 525730 is that we're going to zero out the city manager's budget for those line items and roll all that activity under the IT department.
Okay, understood.
Will that also include subscriptions?
Yes.
Okay.
And so also I want to clarify that we did not remove budgeted line items for like telephone and for this particular one, 525730, from various enterprise funds.
Okay, that makes sense. Line 526170. Nothing budgeted, nearly $6,400 spent. What's going on there?
You said 57.
Contractual services, yes, sir.
52, 57, 10.
No, 526170.
Contractors.
Yeah, we will look into that and whatever needs to be in there, it will be in there. We will look into that.
Mr. Jackson, can you provide the subledger detail for what we've spent things on in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions on page 1?
I'm just surprised you didn't ask about line 526600 while you were at it. Nothing budgeted for that, but 4,300 spent so far, so it's another one. But of course, that is workers' compensation claim, so it just may be some things weren't considered that came up, but that's another one.
Any other questions on page 1? Moving to page 2. Got a question on line 52, 7320. There was no requested amount from the department head here. Nothing was spent this year, but there was a recommendation of $2,000. Why was that?
If you recall, the governing body recall, I came into this position January of last year. And all my stationery and printing has been done in the city manager's office. Public Works, Raymond, that has been filling in over there at Harvard. Stuff has been done from his budget. Lisa Swan is the only one in the, as far as the administration, she's the only one there.
But there hasn't been anything spent this year. There was a budget of $200. Nothing's been spent. There was nothing requested, but your recommendation is $2,000.
Hoping we'll have somebody in the position, because Rose is actively, I have to put something there for whoever comes into the position.
Yeah, and I think what I was hearing you say, those of us that were listening, that you were saying that all of your printing was being done through the city manager's office, so it wasn't, that is why we have zero
Yes.
on this line item, because it's going to show up somewhere else.
Yes.
But what you're looking at is we plan to bring on a public works director
Yes.
in 2026. So in planning ahead, we are looking to put $2,000 in that department.
Yes.
There wasn't anything spent in 2024 either.
It wasn't here in 2020.
You have a director there.
I would ask that you stay, Mayor Pro Tem, I just don't think that that's appropriate and it's out of order. I sincerely appreciate it if you would, the personal attacks are not helpful.
I
and
didn't
they are-
attack you. I simply said what I felt, and that was if I directed it to you, then it would have been a personal attack.
Mayor Pro Tem, you said trifling. It's not necessary. I would ask that you refrain from personal
And you
opinions
need
in
to
that.
not take things personally, because I did not say that to you.
Ma'am,
It's a free country, and I can say what I want to say.
and thank you very
And
much
I did
for that.
not bring a personal attack against any person sitting here.
Ma'am,
That was my opinion.
I appreciate
I'm
your
entitled to
opinion.
my opinion.
Ma'am.
It is
and
my
if you-
First Amendment right to have an opinion and to speak what I want to speak concerning myself.
Thank you very much.
Can we move on with the meeting?
And I would say that you are out of order. Thank you very much. For food and
I
dietary
say with you-
supplies, except I'm running the meeting. Line 537030, food and dietary supplies. This has gone over. It's at 61%. And so, ma'am, do you have anything? If you would, if it's not related to the budget, if y'all could just step. Okay. Do you want to go ahead?
Are you trying to control the meeting or run the meeting? Are you trying to control the person? Because this is a workshop that we are all open to discuss things, okay? It's not a city council meeting where we're sitting up here and you're telling us when we can speak, when we can't speak. That's why we wanted to sit around the table, so that we could have the exchange and interchange without feeling that we're being controlled or manipulated or having political theater tonight.
Ma'am, thank you very much. I would ask if you were going to have a side conversation to take it off so we can make sure that everyone can hear. Okay?
Well, we may have to take it out and then you won't have a quorum. So would you prefer that we just not have a quorum every time I need to speak to Councilman Karn about something pertaining to the budget?
Mayor Pro Tem, that's up to you.
Okay.
Line 537030. We exceeded it in 2024. We've got a $2,500 budget here. We're slightly under at 1532, but I'm wondering why we're at 1,000 for the recommendation. We never hit that number.
That particular line item is something that is shared department-wise. Water and sewer chipping, each of the division in the department, like Public Works Week, for instance, all the different divisions, when you go further down, you will see this is just part of the administration contribution.
So do we anticipate that other departments will be kicking in more?
It should be in their line items.
Okay, so we'll see an increase. All right. Any other questions on page 2? All right, moving on. Any questions on the supporting documentation? All right, so we're on to highways and streets.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have a question in reference to 52 citywide events. We have a Christmas luncheon, Christmas parade, and then a Christmas celebration at the bottom of the page, 7030. Are those different events? Just a question. They are?
Well,
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions on the budget transactions? Moving on to highways and streets. Questions on page 1 of the worksheet.
Okay, highways and streets. This is, whose department is this? This is
One
Carlton
division.
or which?
One division.
Right, who is this? This is Raymond, okay, all right.
I have a comment.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, I noticed on line 52, 57, 60, curbs and sidewalks, that we are going from $20,000 in this year's budget to $284,000, and I'm hoping that that is because we are going to be, well, the department head requested that because we do need to have curbs and sidewalks. Is there a reason why we're not going to, and I was still speaking. The department head said requested 284, and I know we definitely dearly need sidewalks and curbs, and I don't know if this is for repairs or adding on, but are we going to see somewhere else where funding is going to be put into curbs and sidewalks? I know there's a project. I've seen what we're doing in terms of Gobby Road that I've already looked at, but what are the plans for funding?
Capital, capital improvement, it should be a capital improvement budget, this year. And like sidewalk on Washington Road, for instance.
Right.
Because that alone is over 200 then. Raymond, you have the capital improvement section, correct?
Okay, well, you answered the question. I just wanted to make sure that we are definitely, so it'll come through the capital improvement. And like I said, I did see Godby Road and some things there. I just wanted to make sure that we were including the things for Ward 1. Okay.
I have a question, just in reference to 5010 on the salaries. Is there an increase? Are we adding extra positions, or it's really difficult to tell because we don't have the detail, but it looks like the number is increasing quite a bit.
It looks like we're understaffed.
Councilor, the 24 was with the increase in roles, the salaries section is inputted by HR. You know, the department don't put the salary
Gotcha.
figures in there. No,
Okay.
HR does that.
Oh, gotcha.
And so none of these operating salaries include an increase, is that correct?
That would be HR question.
No,
No.
at this point, no. For 2026, no.
So
All right.
it just means that we've added some positions then maybe, or a position,
Well, the numbers just seem from
From what I,
25 to
the budget,
and 26.
the actual.
Yeah, the actuals, it's like, are we understaffed in the department?
Yeah, that's what I think I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, we were, understaffed, but I believe it's only one position left to be filled, right? In highway and streets. Two
Okay, all right,
positions,
okay.
Yeah.
And that's what we,
Then that makes
that's what
sense.
we,
Right,
that's
right.
what we
Then that makes
need.
sense. Okay.
So, because my question too was looking at a couple of areas here, that we are at 48% and 44% in this budget, which, I mean, is good in terms of we're not spending over. But the thing is that we've only got 3 months left, so we're probably only going to hit about maybe 60% on these budgeted items. Like I said, that's good news, but the bad news is that we do need to get those positions filled. Yeah.
And I think we see that in overtime, because we're way over in overtime, 225%. Is it realistic for us to be at $5,000, that same budgeted amount?
What line is that?
Line 51, 50, 20.
51, 50, 20.
We probably do need to increase that. Which,
The HR, can come back and give us more.
Yeah.
Because this section here is inputted by HR.
all of it,
And all of it is
I
put in
gotcha.
by HR. It doesn't come from the department.
but yeah, that is one that we probably want to,
HR puts in,
Right, but it does make sense. It balances itself out. If you have if you have positions that are not filled, and we have not reached our budget, we're 48% on the budget for salaries for these past 9 months. That makes sense that somebody's going to have to come in extra and do the work and make up. But we're still operating at a deficit in terms of, because even 11,000 is nothing in terms of when we're looking at, we're down by $200,000, or definitely $100,000. So somebody's coming in and they're doing overtime for a position that would probably be another $40,000.
and governing body is something how we quickly forget. We had all these storms here. The street didn't get clear by itself. I had to bring people in to pay them overtime.
Yeah.
And if I didn't bring them in, then we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
yeah.
It's quick how people forget.
I'm saying that it makes sense that there would be more overtime because it's under for folks, because we don't have as many people who are actually full-time employees in line 51, 50 to 10.
I'm hoping to fill all positions.
Understood.
And by doing that, the only people that will make overtime when guys are on call, those are the guys that will make overtime.
Well, I personally want to say to the staff that in this particular situation, my hat goes off, because they've been able to accomplish the work that would require other people, and we have not compensated somebody else to do it. So somebody had to work overtime to make sure Because when we look in our streets, the work is getting done. So I just want to say to the staff, thank you very much for your hard work, and thank you.
Line 51, 50, 40. Or do we have more employees who are living within the city to see that increase in the utility credit?
That would be HR. That would be HR question, ma'am.
Well, I think this is probably in anticipation of new employees that will be moving into the city. One thing that I'm very proud of and we got to keep in mind is that we have a utility credit like none other region-wide. And we got a new communications director in. What does that mean? Words are going to be getting around in terms of a place to live and work. College Park is going to be at the top of a lot of folks' lists if things go as well as we anticipate them to go. So the more employees you have living in your city, the safer your city is. We used to talk about emergency management plans. The best emergency management plan is having as many of your staff working in and living in the city as possible. That's the best emergency plan you can have, because at the end of the day, if the staff and their families are here, when all heck breaks loose, whatever it is, they're gonna make sure they're covering the home front. And we want that home front to be here. So we accommodate our staff to make sure with that utility credit that the more we bring in, the better off we're gonna be, just in general, so.
And Councilor, we increased
The utility, that's what I was going to
from
say.
24 to
This is
48%.
only saying that we have 3 full-time employees in the city of College Park. It's $4,800 a year. We increased it from last year.
I remember.
So to me, this budget is well thought out in that sense. We have 2 positions that are open. It would be beautiful to hire persons that live in the city of College Park. So, or if we're doing part-time persons, so that makes sense. It makes sense. So thank you very much again.
Ms. Stewart, can you explain the rationale to the 14,400 for this? Because I didn't see that shift in the employee utility credit for other departments as we move forward. So this one stuck out for me.
I don't know, when an employee is hired, we do give them that.
Ms. Stewart, there's a microphone up here.
Sorry about that. I apologize. When an employee is hired, we do give them that opportunity to apply for the utility credit.
Understood.
And so they complete that paperwork, and that's when they have an opportunity to do that. So hopefully I'm answering your question.
I'm looking at the 2025 actual amount, and it's $2,200 thus far. So that would indicate to me that we probably have one person in highways and streets who is a city employee.
Right.
Do you know of other people who are being hired who live in College Park right now? Or I'm just trying to understand, because I don't think that we've necessarily had as a practice, and Councilmember Gay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that we've necessarily, I think we've planned the utility credit on the number of employees that we've had who were city residents in the current budget year.
Right.
So this looks like an anticipation of additional people who would live within the city who would get the credit.
We would have to have some anticipation because we don't know when an employee is hired where they're living. So we would have to have some forecasting to determine, just to even looking at past experience, we would have to be able to determine, just forecast. I would say that we may have some employees that are going to be living in College Park.
How many
And
positions?
desire that.
How many positions are open right now in this department? Yes. 2. Okay, so let's look at this. Let me just look at this. We've got one person, maybe this one person right now, who hasn't received their whole entire utility credit for this year. We're hiring 2 people. So that's why I say the budget makes sense. So you're looking to hire 2 people. You're hoping that those persons, and just in case, so we don't have to come back and do a budget amendment, to be able to include a utility credit for those 2 additional people. It makes sense. Also, this particular department, and because when we look at all the different, even our public works department, when we look at all the different storms, all the different crises that we had over the last year, and when the crews had to come in and do all the different work through the storms, it really makes sense if you can live in the city. You don't want, so hopefully we will find and hire persons that want to live in College Park. This is also a way to encourage people. You get another $4,800 because I know that these crews are out here working when some of us are sleeping. And when we're out here, bad storms and everything else, they're out there. I'm talking about Public Works, and Public Works, I can say the same thing for our police, but specifically Public Works, our electric company, they have been out there getting our electricity back on, getting trees that are in the middle of the street up within hours. And it just makes sense to have that ability and not have to come back for a budget adjustment.
I understand the rationale. Let me ask one other question. And this is jumping ahead a little bit. But Mr. Newton, do you have any openings in buildings and grounds? Okay, so Mr. Newton has 3 openings in buildings and grounds. Jumping ahead to buildings and grounds, and I'm just using this as an example, their employee utility credit is not changed. They have a $1,200 budget for 2025. They've got $889.20 on it. They've used 75%, 74% right online, and the anticipation in their budget is for $1,200 in the next fiscal year. So I could understand if we are anticipating based upon open positions, and that's across the board, but it doesn't appear to be that way. So what I'm trying to understand is why is it this way in highways and streets?
Because whoever sat down and decided that they were going to have this particular budget wanted that included. When we look at all the different departments that we're looking at now, there's another person that's each of these gentlemen have sat down with the city manager and the finance director to go over what they think their budget is. That's why we're here right now. Because if we think that needs to be included in every single department of the city, then during these work sessions, we will find a way to get that. But what we are looking at right now is each individual department head or supervisors or superintendents' idea for budget for their particular unit. That's why.
Mayor Pro Tem, I think what I heard from the city manager was that HR handles the personnel, the top part of the budget, correct?
Yes, they do, but at the same time, when we sat down with each division,
Okay.
they had input, to it.
So on line 515040, who inputted $14,000 and what was the rationale? Okay.
Raymond, come on to the microphone, please.
Yes, just wanted to indicate that I have 3 employees that live in the city of College Park.
Okay.
And each one of them, the credit limit did go up from 24 to 48. So I calculated for the 3 employees that came up to 14,000. That's yearly.
So you have 3 already?
Already.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Yes, and then
that makes sense.
for how much being spent, that's in customer service. I don't know if they use late tuition, they don't, they go over, they have to pay.
Understood. Okay, so you already have 3. Thank you, Mr. Cotton. That makes sense. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Light bulb went off.
Any other questions on that page? I do have a question on 5163. It looks like we've just spent a small amount on on short-term disability insurance each year. Is there a reason it's zeroed out? I mean, we've spent something every year.
Ms. Stewart, because you did the HR portion, it's probably best that you just stay with us down front.
It looks like we had $800 budgeted this year. We've spent $302.40. We spent $561 in the previous fiscal year. Is that moving to some different account, or?
No, it should be. No, it should not be into a different account. But I'm not sure why it's zeroed out.
Is it a possibility that it's, I mean, the numbers look like they were going down over time. Could it be that whatever claim we may have had is no longer active?
I'm not sure. That's something I would have to check into.
Line 52, 57, 51. We're at 12% of budget there. Is there any reason? Looks like we had a fair amount of money set aside for street repair. And to follow up with that, why so low in the upcoming fiscal year?
Mommy said 57, 51.
52, 57, 51.
That's a good catch. I thought you said it was in capital.
I was gonna say, didn't we just say a few minutes
You
ago
put it in
that
capital
those
program.
Is it
expenses
all
were
going
going
into
into capital? Is that going into capital?
For streets,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
what we did is,
Mr. Cotton, you're probably gonna have to come on up.
I'm sorry. For street resurfacing, I had them to move the form to 7840. Instead of mixing it, the amount that I'm asking for to do street resurfacing to be in streets, because I got streets for doing like utility patch and repairs. I didn't want to mix that money into my streets, just like I'm trying to make, like you do your home. You don't want to pull money, then I start digging in there, and then I don't have enough money to cover for when I get my grant money to add to it. So I had them to move it to put up on the street resurfacing.
Okay,
And then I just leave streets as it is.
makes sense.
Okay.
Now, Matt, since you're here, I do have a question. You and I have had numerous debates about the budget and streets, and you often tell me, we don't put enough money in streets. That's why we can't get our streets paid. We just had this conversation, so I would like us to have this conversation towards the end about once we go through the whole process, okay?
Okay.
All right.
And one recommendation, governing body, I came from the school of thought, we're talking about $211 million budget. And, to be, going through, something like this, we're gonna be here all night.
They call
And
it,
that's
Dr. Derry, my father-in-law called it penny wise and a pound foolish.
So I have a recommendation for us to consider for for us to consider for the future when it comes to budgeting.
sorry.
If you could think about it, Mr. Jackson, which is, I would like for us to seriously consider moving to program-based budgeting.
That's fine.
Because line-based budgeting, does require for us to do due diligence. But when you think about all of the lines that we have in our budget, program-based budgeting for the size of our budget probably makes a little more sense. We can still get detail, but when we start thinking about tying our budget numbers to our strategic plan and our strategic focus areas, I think that budgeting then gives us the outcomes. We get to see exactly where the money is being spent, and it will make more sense to our constituents as well. When we go line by line, we're gonna have something dealing with the Christmas parade, book bags, luncheons in every department. And it's difficult for our citizens, our constituents, to really put that all together on how much are we really spending for book bags, parades, events, Christmas luncheons. But if we do it based on a program, then we will be able to see one total. So that's my suggestion. It'll also get us up out of here early, faster, right?
Is he able, Mr. Jackson, is Mr. Jackson able towards the end to put graphs, take these numbers? and
Yeah.
give us-
Yeah,
Yeah, even if we just
Right.
start now.
right,
and
right,
just do that.
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah, do that now.
You know,
Pie
because
charts.
it's gonna be with the subscriptions and all that other stuff. So I think that, it will help us,
Yeah,
and it will also help our constituents.
okay.
When we start talking about, we wanna provide transparency, it will provide the transparency.
All right. But we gotta get through this now.
Yeah, we
y'all.
do.
So let's
Yes,
keep
we do.
going, man.
Okay, we're gonna
Man,
stay focused, but I just wanna make sure that we put that on the radar.
Good call.
I mean, I'm used to that anyway. I mean, and I've always said 200 million. I mean, 200, it's not even where I work at, public works budget. It's not even that. I'm used to dealing with billions. So when we start looking at this little, chicken change here, it's a waste of time.
What's $9,000 to clean some bathrooms?
What was that? What was that?
Wait a minute, what?
Where? What line item is that?
I know, right.
Bathroom
I don't know.
cleaning?
I don't know where it is, but we'll talk about it later.
Bathroom, $9,000?
Yeah, cleaning the restrooms at the parks for $9,000.
Yeah, but for how many bathroom and for how many months, man?
I don't know. You tell me. You've been signing the invoices.
Wait, where, is that a line item, ma'am, that we on right now?
No, I think. Yeah,
we need
we're
to
on
stay on
highways
these,
and
we need to
streets.
stay on
Let's
these
stay on
line
it.
items.
Well, still running the meeting. I've got a question at line 537091 on road signs and delineators.
Could you
Yeah, he's
repeat the
very
number?
ready.
What number, ma'am, what number, 53, what now?
Petty, that we're spending $9,000 a month to clean our
How
restrooms?
many bathrooms are they cleaning for how many days a week?
Why don't we
Sir,
keep-
your authority under the charter is $10,000 period on anyone.
Okay.
Madam,
On anyone, but we can talk about this later because we're on
Ma-
highways and streets
Madam-
right now.
Madam Mayor,
So-
if you don't mind, could we please?
Absolutely, sir.
Stay in point?
Yes, sir.
I asked them down there, they complied.
And I will
do
do
it
it
up
with
this
you.
end.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I got you. 537091, road signs and delineators. It looks like we're on track on this line. Why such a large increase? Looks like we're budgeted for 15, and we're adding another 10 there.
Where, Eric? Raymond?
Actually, you know what, Mr. Cotton? I think I just answered my own question. You want a road striping machine for one-time purchase? Thank you, sir. I apologize on that one.
Additionally, we do have some signs that have some wear and tear on them that we need to replace that I've seen around, so.
Okay.
$52,6170. I think I got my questions answered about that one. Any other questions in highways and streets on the worksheet? Any questions on the budget transaction report, page 1? I did have a question about just the budget itself, because page 2 of the transaction report lists account 547840, and it has that street resurfacing and the pedestrian sidewalk project, but it's not in the first 2 pages of the budget. We get detail about those projects later on, but Mr. Jackson, I was wondering why they didn't appear in the worksheet. Because I'm concerned that those totals aren't wrapped in. That's or is it, you know what? There it is. It is. But I think the number, hold on one second. 547840. Yep, that's my mistake. I apologize. It was just in a different order. Any questions about, any other questions on the budget transaction report?
I just have one question, based on Mayor Pro Tem's question earlier, for the pedestrian sidewalk project. Have we identified where those sidewalks, or
Yeah.
is it all? It's not all Gobby Road, is it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's Old National Clipper Drive and Schofield Road, and Norman Boulevard, and Norman Boulevard and Yorktown Drive. It is page 22. Look digital.
One question, I guess about your vehicles. I saw you had 2 requests for 2 vehicles that I'm assuming are really needed. Now, sometime I look out there on the yard and I see a lot of vehicles that obviously aren't working or so what's the plan? Do those usually go to auction or?
Councilor, I can answer that. I've talked to Chris and Jennifer that handles our vehicles. We are in the process, going back to government deals.
Okay.
And then we'll send it to them, and then they will auction it off.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
do we pull spare parts if we need them, or do we just sell them as is at the auction?
As it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, we don't fix vehicle. Moody is the one that fix, our vehicles. So it's the government, they have a computerized system. We tell them the year, the age, and they have ways of putting a price tag to it.
All right.
Questions on supporting documentation for highways and streets? Councilman Moreno?
I'm back to Councilman Gay's question earlier. Do we think that the 200,000 is going to be enough for the paving?
For street paving?
Yes.
We get LMI. This is not part of LMI.
This is in addition to LMI, right?
Correct.
Well,
Do you think,
go ahead. No, you go. Well, I know 2 years ago it was not. And so what council did, Councilman Carn voted, we voted for $200,000 budget amendment just to get streets done. And that's not enough.
Yeah,
I
well-
mean, but then again, what about Splash? We were spending a lot of Splash money over there at 6 West. So we don't have to spend that no more, do we, Splash?
Well, we're paying back the bond. We took out a bond.
The question is, how are you gonna finance additional streets?
Well, right now for the LMIG, that the grant I received, GDOT, we had to do a 30% match. Now they also doing a supplemental.
Yep.
Where there's no
No
match. And right now, I got the contract out from East Coast Grading to get started on these streets. And I got a LRA RFP put out with Veronica. I'm waiting on her to find out have she received the resurfacing package. And also I got a 2025 RFP put out for LMIG. And I got the opportunity, I think you all got an email about the 2025 LRA for the street list again. So I'm waiting on get approval because we were behind on the audit.
Right.
Because
We can't get that money until we have the audit.
Yeah, so I hope Terry have taken care of that. But I'm waiting on GDOT to see have they approved the funding for the LRA for 2025. But they did send me a check, the grant for 2025 LMIG. I did get approved for that.
Don't you have? Go ahead.
Right. My concern is, and I'm glad that we're getting these funds, but, we've had so many different situations where we've had, sewer situations, roads collapse, from weather and things of that nature, and whether or not if we should consider allocating some additional dollars.
What, we have 2 in there now, Doctor? 200,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we put another 100 in there at least, we'd be covered because we're gonna have some issues and incidents and
Raymond, what about T-Splash? Does that factor in?
I don't know, Jackson, when Jackson was here, he used it to do T-Spot. I don't know.
But I mean, do we still get T-Splash?
Yeah.
Councilmember, but we're using the T-Splosh to pay back the bonds.
Yeah, part of it, yes.
All of it?
Not all of it, no.
But a lot of it. What about so when we talk about paving, is this including, we have some road streets that may not need to be repaved, but we've got these potholes, what's happened with this weather since we've had snow in Georgia? That's impacted our streets. So, we do have quite several areas, which you know better than me. And so that's a concern for me too, not just the paving of streets, but the areas where we have potholes and cracks and stuff where it needs to be. So I just really believe that we need to be aggressive when it comes to funding for our street paving and
what I would recommend, rather than putting the $100,000 to it, let's finish having the equipment assess all our streets.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
let's-
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
That's fair enough.
let's
That's fair enough.
finish,
Okay.
That's
fair
what
enough.
we did everywhere I worked.
That's fair enough.
And that's what
then we
determines,
can- right, then we
how
can be
many different
strategic.
levels of street and what needs to be paved.
That makes
you know.
sense.
When is that
We
happening?
can be
When is
strategic
that
about
gonna
it.
Yes,
You still collecting the information.
Mark is starting the data in Ward 4.
So one thing for you, Lee, there are streets currently to be paid now, not out of this, right now, right? 6,
Yes.
East Coast Grader, right? They started, so
Correct.
tell the council, what streets are currently getting paid that's not part of this budget? What are they?
This is 2024. You got John Cabin, Northwest Drive, East Main Street. You got Winthorpe Road, and you got Mount Vernon Way.
And that's now, right?
Yes, East Coast Grading is basically waiting on the right time to pay, because in our pavement project, we got a 1-year warranty. And if he come out and pay something too soon, and if it start cracking, he responsible for coming back and fixing it.
He
So
said
that's
he's
why he
coming
trying.
like now,
Yeah,
right?
he
Like
probably
this
coming
week or next week?
as soon as he get the opportunity to weather. I can't, that's his decision. I can't just say, you need to come in College Park and pay now.
And how did we pay for those, please?
That's grant and the 2024 street resurfacing fund that I had for last year.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Cotton.
Thank you.
Ernest Smith.
All right, moving on to buildings and grounds. There are 3 pages of the budget worksheet. Questions on page 1?
I have a question, line 52, 5770, Keep America Beautiful. I don't see where there was actually a money budgeted for 2025. I do see that we have 35,000. I guess the question is, how are we funding our Keep College Park Beautiful? Is this Keep College Park Beautiful? Is this the budget for the program with Miss Francis, who's here as well?
Yes, ma'am. So initially, Keep College Beautiful did not have a line item.
Okay.
On its own, it came out of grounds.
Okay.
So just recently, Terry had came up with her, and she now currently has her own line item for that. But the funds actually come from grants that she applies for and that she gets. Now, she initially had $3,000 inside of grounds for her to utilize for whatever it is that she needed to use those monies for. But she also has funds also in sanitation. So her actual funds were dispersed amongst every division until recently. Thank you. Because it was kind of confusing for us to keep up with what it is that we currently have and what she had. So it was
It's kind of like what Councilwoman Arnold was saying, and when you
Right.
have a programming budget,
right.
we can.
So she may have 40,000. We're thinking that we have, 90, and we really don't. So it worked its way out. So
I guess the question is, this 35,000, which I have no problem with being, is this the amount of money that all the Keep College Park Beautiful is going to be run on for the upcoming year?
likely not.
Okay, because I mean, I know they're doing a whole bunch of stuff, and she's here, she's sitting here, but I can't imagine that we're paying her out of this or I don't know if her salary is included in this or how that works, but it just seems like that's a very viable program. It's been,
Her salary is built into sanitation.
Okay, so it'll be the next,
Yeah.
all
that's
right.
part, Keep College Park Beautiful.
Okay.
Is part of sanitation.
Just checking, because when I saw that, I mean, I'm glad to see the number, but the number seems really low if it's gonna fund the entire program. Okay.
Are the stipends for the appointees included in this number?
Appointees for
Keep College Park Beautiful.
So we need to
then
have that.
We need to make sure that we adjust that.
They should be included in this budget, I believe.
in sanitation.
In sanitation, okay.
Okay.
So we still, so basically, so we're dealing with.
When we get there, I
This,
got you.
it's in 2 budgets now,
Right.
instead of 4 or 5, okay.
Honestly, I'm not sure if it's even like that. It may, I don't know if Cotton still has any inside of his, but I know between building and grounds and sanitation, there are funds for her in those budgets. And we also budgeted another $3,000 for her inside of grounds as well. So likely Terry will take that and he'll take that $3,000 and place that inside of her Keep College Park Beautiful line item.
Gotcha.
So we should be good, right?
Yeah, because that particular.
Okay, perfect.
That organization is very viable, and it has been a way to bring our community together, raising the consciousness. What's this thing? Something about my butt. Pick up my butt. Pick up your butt. Watch it.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's one of those programs that we definitely want to embrace and make sure it's well funded as much as we possibly can.
I have a question on that same line item. Is Georgia Work Source Building and grounds, or is it in
That's
sanitation?
sanitation.
Okay,
So
all right.
those
And
questions,
then, go ahead.
those questions we keep, beautiful, College Park beautiful, that would be.
That's sanitation. And I have one other question. What happened to it? It was two. Shit, let me see.
That's a perfect example of program-based budgeting.
Oh, I see it. I'm probably just reading it wrong. 2026 budget request, 200,000 for City Hall.
52, 57, 47. I had the question too. What'd you want? And
And then-
what didn't you get?
And what did you get?
It's the last line.
You
Last
got
line on the page.
200,000.
So last year, initially, we had taken over facilities, right? Lisa was over those. So we had spoken to the person who was currently over them 2024, and they gave us a number. That number was, I think it was like 68,000 for facilities. Well, within about 4 months in, we knew that number wasn't going to work. It was not going to work. So I think we were well over $100,000 at that time. I think it was like about 4 or 5 months in, we were well over the 68,000. So when we went to our city manager recommendation meeting for the budget, it was suggested that it be taken from building and grounds, and placed with the city manager's office. So Melanie now has that. So the initial 200,000 that we asked for maintenance to fix, it's at zero now because it was taken from us and it was placed. The city manager.
Now also, city manager, I understand we moved this building, City Hall, from the clerks handling
Yes,
repair and
sir.
maintenance over to Public Works, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's in city manager's office.
okay, good deal, all right.
And this is where it gets back to what Councilwoman Arnold has said. It would really help us on a programming level, because even right now, I'm trying to see Keep America Beautiful. We're trying to see this particular, and it's money that's been, if we could just look at all of these different programs and projects.
But may I suggest, y'all, that this is where we are.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, I won't say anything else
We'll
then.
get those graphs towards the end. All right. No worries.
I've got a question on line 52, 57, 41. Why is that zeroed out? And in general, where is the money for park maintenance? Parks themselves?
Recreation.
All right, so with parks,
Mr. Newton, you make sure.
So with parks, when Miss Melissa was here, she took parks out, basically. And what she did, she was trying to find the money to give guys raises. So basically, she took parks out because the two gentlemen that were in parks are no longer here. One passed away, Mike Gaskin. Frank Ferguson retired. So those are the only two people that were in parks. So what she did, she was trying to give guys raises, so she got rid of that and increased the raises for the guys using that money.
So what department pay for parks?
We were buildings and grounds, not parks and grounds.
You saying building and grounds take care of the park?
It was buildings and grounds, and it was parks and grounds, but you only had two guys that were in parks. So what she did, because they were no longer in public works,
Who now service the parks? And
we
wetlands?
cut, we landscape, we take care of.
So it's coming out of buildings and grounds.
When it comes to replacement of grills, cans, and things of that nature in the parks, or replacing anything that need to be replaced in the park, we don't have a budget for that.
But
The
the
rec-
manpower
the
is
rec-
in
the rec
salaries.
department-
is what-
the rec
the manpower
department-
is in salaries.
Yeah, the rec department,
Okay.
fix those things like the trash cans.
Okay. So this is an additional line item that no longer we use. All right. Okay. Fair enough.
But no one knew that.
Well, you just explained it. Okay.
Any other questions on page 1? Moving on to page 2.
I do have a question, I'm sorry.
All right, what line?
Last year, we funded the tractor more, and I was told the compromises that you was gonna convert the older tractor to a bush hog, but I don't see where you've ordered the attachment.
We got a new arm tractor, but we have.
Right, but what I'm saying, when we allowed that, I thought the conversation was gonna be, instead of just having a John Deere tractor sitting back there, you were gonna retrofit it as a bush hog, and I don't see that attachment in this budget. Sam, help me out.
So initially, that was the plan, and it still can be the plan. Bush hog does not cost much. So that could likely come from grounds.
So maybe.
But what would have to be done is that it would have to go down to Dobbs equipment, and that arm, that boom mower, would have to come off. Now, I did speak to Dobbs in regards to that, and I got a quote for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this.
All I'm saying is, can we make a footnote that towards the end, we may wanna add that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's
Back in
something
here.
that we were trying to do, but I gotta see, in the long run, would we spend more getting the arm taken off and all of that? So,
Versus what?
the price and everything.
Okay.
So
Would getting a
if
standalone
we
bush
don't,
hog make sense?
if it doesn't have us spend more and getting that taken off,
I just hate for you to come back to Dr. Adair in 3-5 months and asking for. Now, one other thing.
no, it's not gonna cost us a lot to get a bush hog.
One other thing. I noticed y'all still driving a truck that been rented for a year. You could've- what's the deal on that truck, and how are we gonna take it out? I mean, where is it being paid for?
So where it's coming from, I'm not sure.
Oh.
I don't know. I know it is the general fund. Now, I budgeted last year for all of our vehicles. Every last one that are on this page tonight were on the page last year. We were denied. We didn't get not one vehicle. We have 25-year-old landscape trucks.
You got
we
the
have
truck?
23-year-old. Now, we had our 144 was totaled out. We were looking for those funds, but those funds that we needed to replace went back into the general fund. We weren't able to access those. We had multiple wrecks. One was also hit by a train, if I'm not mistaken. So that was totaled out. We didn't get that. So it was more so down the lines of like, well, we don't have vehicles to drive. The vehicles are constantly breaking down. And I think myself, Carlton, and Emmanuel had spoke on
We
it.
did get one.
And what it was that we said was that the reason as to why our repair and maintenance had went up was just in case we didn't get the new vehicles. So it was more so down, if we got the vehicles, the repair and maintenance would go down. But if we didn't,
It's contingent.
But you
It's
got-
when they break down.
exactly.
We did get one.
So it's more so we still have to haul, we still have to.
It goes on one.
Yeah.
No,
So
but my question
we-
is, that
we
wasn't
had
my
to-
question.
we had to
My
get
question is, that's not the question. The question is, are you making allowance to stop renting this truck? You've been renting it for a year. Is it a vehicle replacement? And stop renting the truck?
Yes,
And it's
absolutely.
in what line item?
Absolutely.
The 228?
That
Where is that?
is 547590, vehicle replaced.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where it's at.
Yeah.
So in June, you giving back the rental truck?
July 1st, yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I want to know.
You get it back.
If they take
ma'am.
it back, you know. They may not take it back.
Dr. Emmanuel, I definitely think we need a bush hog. I was surprised we don't have one, but maybe a standalone.
We have
you
three,
would-
but
okay.
he wants, we have 3 bush hogs.
Okay,
So he
I was
wants
gonna
one
say.
that is bigger to fit the arm that is on the yard now, because the arm part doesn't work on that particular tractor. So what we want to do is we want to see how much it will be to take that off, and then use that particularly just as a bush hog.
All right, and all 3 work.
But we
right?
have 3 bush hogs.
All 3 of them are working.
We just took one down.
Last year we asked for a tractor, so that got turned down as well. So we asked for all the vehicles this year. So hopefully we'll get all our vehicles. And then next year we'll ask for another
So
tractor.
is it 2
But
of
we
the
do have two
two of the
new
3
tractors.
bush hogs? two of the three bush hogs work then?
All the bush hogs work. All of them work.
Okay, all of them.
The bush hogs connect to the tractor. As long as your tractor is able to move,
But you got one bad tractor.
yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And before y'all go, the shed. So we tore the shed down, but are we building the shed back?
We
Do we need a shed?
Yes.
And
I mean, if we're not moving,
we're gonna need,
We
because
thought we was gonna have it replaced, but we were told that we were supposed to be moving. So
And then, as far as building the shed back, what I was, and I've talked to Hill Richardson, where they store stuff on Forest Park, that's where public works and electric utilities supposed to be a facilities. When 6 West is sold, that's what I was, so when it's sold, part of the proceed there will be used to build a facility that will house light, power and light, public works, and I would like to add about 5,000 square feet office space for, it will be like a second city hall.
But if 6 West don't get developed in the next couple years, my question is, do we need a temporary shed? Because I
Yes.
know that shed was part of our day-to-day operation.
because our equipment is exposed.
Yeah.
We got tractors, bush hogs that are made out of metal, it
Materials.
rusts, snow. We have to have it.
if you're not planning on moving, like
Tomorrow.
Right.
then you need another
Could
shed.
we, Dr. Manuel,
need a shed.
could we put another footnote that maybe we look at a line item where we could put a temporary shelter, shed, just to protect equipment and materials? Could we bring fertilizers and you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I have a shed that we place those things.
So you don't
like
need a
that in.
shed.
But our tractors and everything and trucks
Vehicles.
are exposed.
So could you look for some canopies and consider a price towards the end?
I can do that tomorrow.
Something to protect them.
Yeah.
Yeah. and just
Do you
let
know
us
the barn is torn down?
What'd you say?
The barn, the round
The
barn?
round barn? Yeah,
Barn
it's
is
sold.
gone,
That's
man.
been gone.
It's been gone for
Did
about
you see
what?
that?
About 4 months? About 4 months?
Right, it's been gone.
been long
Gone.
I
The
was
round
just sitting
barn.
over there today, I said something different.
Yeah. Earlier this.
The reason why I bring that up, ladies and gentlemen, that was our shed years ago. That was the building and grounds. That's what it was used for. That's why I thought about it. Okay, I don't want to get guilty of telling them to stop talking, and then I start talking.
Any
Ma'am?
questions? We're on page 2 of buildings and grounds. I have a couple. 537110.
These two.
We've got safety supplies, which I don't have an issue with, but we might as well budget what we're actually going to spend on them because safety supplies are important. So does that need to be a little bit more? $7,000, something like that?
Safety.
Supplies, 537110, correct?
Yes, sir. You've already spent $5,000. You're at 126% of budget.
Yeah.
You put a little more in there.
We went a little bit higher, 40. Yes, ma'am.
That would help.
That would help quite a bit.
Safety supplies are important.
52 something.
And same thing with office supplies. You're at basically 200% of where you need to be. There's an explanation.
Oh yeah. So yeah, when I went into New World, that actually came out due to an event, a citywide event. Like we didn't spend that money, so I don't know. I don't know where that came from. So yeah.
Mr. Jackson, could you do the subledger on that line and send it to us?
Yes, that is 537310.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So therefore, the 2,000 is good. We don't need to go above that. Okay.
547590. Those are these are new vehicles. It's quite a bit. 2,200.
Oh, okay. You on the third page?
No, still
those
at-
are the vehicles.
Those are
I
three.
think it's 3.
Page 3.
Those are the three
I
vehicles.
think it's 3.
Those are the vehicles that we're asking for, that we asked for last year.
That's four.
Yep, it's a,
F150 is a landscape truck, and also a small dump truck.
We've got a F-450, it's
Another landscape truck that we asked for last year, but we only.
it's 3 units.
And what kind of tractor?
Not a tractor this year.
It's double.
It was just,
Oh.
dump.
Yeah, so
Oh, yes, it's two Chevy 1500s, gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
the 144 that got wrecked never got replaced, so we asking for that to be replaced.
166.
And was that 166?
Yeah.
166 that was actually replaced in 2022.
That's long overdue,
Yeah.
all of those.
Does the logo and stuff that we put on our trucks, how we pay for that? Out of the vehicle cost?
I'm not sure the logos, streets put those on the
On
vehicles
everybody's
for us.
truck? Raymond, what budget line you pay those out of? And you put enough for all these new vehicles? Huh? You could. I'm saying you got enough in your line item to cover all these new vehicles.
Yes.
Okay.
I thank you for looking out for public works, though, you always.
Oh, they supposed to be my friends. I can't tell.
We love
Well, I can
I
tell.
can't tell. I don't feel alone.
Every time I turn around, Public Works is in.
I know I love Public Works. Y'all all right with me.
No, but this is by far.
Thank you,
probably
thank you.
One of the hardest working departments, no question.
All right. So where we at, Madam Mayor?
No
Let's keep it
contest
moving.
there.
Let's go. I got a
Still on
map.
page 3 with the vehicle.
Page 3?
Now we're on, are there any questions on the transaction report? That's the 3 pages.
Our seasonal color is in here, all for citywide.
We just
Yes.
talked to Josh.
Yeah.
But is it in this number?
I spoke with him today.
I'm sorry, Councilmember, what was your
Yeah,
question?
it's still in.
This is our seasonal color material installation for citywide beds.
Yes.
Cause you told me today you were gonna use Russell. Russell very expensive, but is that line item in here?
Yeah.
And which line item is it?
That is actually, what is gonna be in grounds, that is.
Yeah, that's our ground budget.
100, 9195.
5195?
5780.
5780.
It's 5780. And that's our grounds. Where we use
City annual flowers.
city annual flowers for landscape.
Okay, so we covered.
We're covered.
Yeah, page 1 of the transaction report gives a line item of all
So I'm
those.
just waiting on him to tell me where we at. He said between the end of April and May.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Any questions on the supporting documentation?
And
On to
are
sanita-
Are you fully staffed?
No, sir.
How many openings do you have? You got 3? Okay, how y'all looking for filling them?
Well, we have interviews next week, but it's been going pretty good. It's hard for them to make it through, though.
Tough.
It's not supposed to be easy. All right, well, keep going.
Yeah, 'cause,
Love your drinking and drug standards.
yeah, they could, they can make it through the background, man. We could get filled as far as our staff, but right now it's been a problem with people making it.
Yeah.
It isn't that we're not interviewing.
Well, you gotta weed it out. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
put that on the
That's
announcement, on the job posting that we do drug testing so that people don't waste their time?
Oh,
They still involved?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilman, that is a terminator there.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Okay.
That's me, I guess.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We're on to sanitation.
Thank y'all.
And Mr. Jackson, as we move on to these enterprise funds, I've got a question for you generally.
Okay.
Because the revenue and expenses totals, should they match what you told us on Monday?
Yes, they
They
should.
do not.
When you say totals, revenue totals and expense totals?
Yes, sir.
Which page?
Like, for instance, on page 1, the finance presentation on Monday said that through March 31st, our sanitation revenue was $2,872,296. This report gets run on 4/7, it appears, and the revenue totals are almost $100,000 less.
So are you comparing actual revenues to expenses or budgeted?
I'm looking at the 2025 actual amount.
Okay.
Could you give us an example, Mayor, which line item?
Yeah, I'm looking at the revenue total on page 1.
Okay,
And this is going to require, because Mr. Jackson's presentation to us through March 31st said, like, the presentation that he made on Monday,
so his annual is not reflected here on what he gave us Monday, the annual revenue to date.
well, I'm trying to understand, because he said in his presentation, the revenue number was higher than it is here. And that becomes an issue in most of these enterprise funds. And there's a big difference in water, sewer, and the expenses.
So in this particular case, the expenses exceed the revenues, which to my knowledge, it was reported that way at the Monday meeting when we did the year-to-date report as of March 31st. It was a similar situation.
Yes,
And
but on Monday, you told us the expenses were $4.1 million. Here, they're 2.9.
Well, these reports are simply snapshots. And I have to verify the actual date these were ran, because these could have been ran.
It looks like they're 4/7.
I doubt that.
Okay,
Because when we run these reports, we lock the figures in. They get locked.
okay,
And so they should not be updated, for example, each time we run them.
okay. I mean, the number, like I said, the enterprise funds they don't align with what the numbers were on Monday, so
But the report that you saw on Monday is the most up-to-date and accurate report. The actuals reflected in this report, these reports could have been run early March, mid-March, but definitely not ran on 4/7.
So the information, because in the corner it says 4/7 on the bottom.
Yeah, at the
But
bottom.
that's not,
And that's not necessarily the actuals, year-to-date actuals as of 4/7, is what I'm saying.
understood.
But the situation still stands that sanitation expenses are still exceeding their revenues.
Sure. That's just a big, like 2.9 to 4.1 is a big swing. Questions on page 1?
Where did the revenue come generated from that's not keeping up with the expenses? Are we having the collections? Did we lose an account? Explain that.
Well, as I understand it, I got some information today. I did talk to our utility customer service manager as well as the city manager. And there is a situation that I'm aware of where we're not billing certain community members for sanitation services, but they are receiving service.
Why would we be doing that?
It will result to that much difference in revenue?
No, that's all.
No.
That's all the Windsor Forest down at the bottom down there, like it's somewhere.
I'm sorry, Mr.
Oh,
Hand.
that's for the Windsor Forest complex down there. Like Mr. Scott and I called it a little while ago that no one was paying sanitation. So like we thought about like just like stopping, but Dr. E said we just got to give them like a little notice and like let them catch up. Whether it's the homeowner or whether it's like the renters, like they wasn't sure like how to proceed with it because we couldn't just stop the service. But that shouldn't affect the budget like that, like detriment. It's only like I mean, like 50 houses maybe total.
75.
Oh, 75 houses total, but like I believe like 25 was online though, like we're paying, so like on time and everything like that. So we had probably
So,
like
Mr.
50.
Hand, where do you see the significant reduction in revenues coming from?
With that, the way it looked this year, all of our trucks were supposed to be leased, but they was all paid out cash. So like during last year's budget meeting, everyone agreed that with our income and revenue, and like the cost of the amount of trucks that were needed, that all the trucks should be leased. But somehow during the mix, it got all caught up and it was all paid with cash.
So you reporting on, this is the cash basis, this report we're looking at tonight is on cash?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's it then? You paid out more cash?
Yeah, yes, sir. They were out to be leases, but somehow they all went like straight out cash.
So you spent your revenue to pay the cars, the trucks in full, is that what he's saying?
So one of the situations is we did receive an invoice to pay. That invoice was for $330,898. And so when we received the invoice, my department, it had an invoice number. We were told to pay it. It was paid. So the miscommunication is that this particular expense was supposed to be treated as a capital lease.
And amortized?
Correct.
Well, when was that paid?
This was paid in February of 2025.
Rhonda paid it.
And it came out of the wrong account also. It came out of
Come on to the microphone. Come on.
I mean, that's good news though, it's a good problem.
Yeah.
It's a good problem. It's not like you losing revenue.
Which account did it come out of?
It's a good
account?
I don't think it's related to revenue, but the incident that he's talking about is dealing with short of staff. We didn't know currently that was supposed to be a leased or a leased vehicle because we didn't have anyone in purchasing. Right. So originally, I think at the time they were planning to purchase 3. When Althea was here, they did 1. We had no clue that the other 2 came along because we didn't have people in the right place in order to service him. So basically, Cedric did the right thing to get a PO to show that we were purchasing this for the vendor.
Yeah, I had to show proof of funds. Like to the vendor, I was just trying to show proof of funds because like all these trucks are built to suite. Like they're not like just on a lot. So like I gotta show them that I have the funds so you can build a truck. So once it get built, I can pay you. Yeah. So that was my aim for that. But somehow it got miscommunicated and then we got paid.
So when he requested the purchase order from Lisa Swan, that's the only way I know how to just get to the point. He requested the purchase order. She did not know that the vehicle was not available to buy, that it was on order. So normally when she has an invoice, she gets a PO, she pays it. So there's no communication about this is a capital lease, this is a certain situation. We didn't have the right people in the right place to prevent it from happening. So when we notice it in accounts payable, again, we're all temp staff trying to regroup. It rolled through the process without any alarms on it. Because there's no one. Purchasing handles the lease agreement. The finance director we didn't have in place. Is part of that. And became a bill.
Can you speak into the microphone?
I'm sorry. There was no alarms. It was just a normal bill. Lisa just processed it like it was paying any other bill, because there was no alarms to say that this is something that we're ordering, but we're not paying for it because the truck has not been built out.
So does that payout represent the loss in revenue?
No.
That's what I'm trying to.
Part of it, yes, because we're over in our expenses,
Right.
and so I'll add that based upon the Monday night report that I provided, I talked to the city manager, and we are planning to propose a budget amendment to take that out.
Yes. So then we'll be balanced.
We'll be close to being
Close.
balanced.
Okay, that's a good,
That's a good thing.
okay, good thing.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Good catch, Kevin. Cedric, good explanation. All right, Mayor?
Are there any questions on page 1? Moving on to page 2.
I have a question on page 1. Line item 4130, recycled material, actual 15, is that 15,000?
Yeah, that's a projected money that we're gonna make on recycling all our containers that we have on the yard.
But then under, is it a drop in revenue? About a couple
We
thousand?
recycled some, I don't know if it's showing or reflecting inside the budget yet, but we still have more in the yard that we gotta recycle for this year. We got like maybe 30, 40 cans.
But I was thinking that those recycle bins are, is this in this number? The ones that, the recycle bins are in this number?
Oh, no, sir, no, sir. These are the, like old containers and everything that we take down to the steel yard, like all our old materials that we have.
Where's the recycles at? The recycle?
We don't get paid for recycling, we just don't get charged for dumping it.
We're just doing good service on that one.
Yeah, we don't get charged for dumping it,
By
so.
the time it gets to the recycle place, it's so
contaminated.
contaminated that we pay.
Which, I mean, this is not the time for that, but we do need to have a conversation about, is it cost effective? Because the amount of manpower it takes to
Yeah.
manage that is.
Yeah, when it's clean, it's cost effective because it's saving us by the tonnage. So just say we take down 20 tons a week and we're getting charged at $60 a ton. So like we're just saving that money all week, like we're recycling. But if we got to take it all to the transfer station, then we're getting charged. So like effectively, we're saving money that way.
But it's not, but it's contaminated.
A lot of the times, yeah. Jamestown Plaza contaminated a lot. Yes, sir.
It's an extreme amount of manpower that I see y'all spending over there.
Oh yeah, every morning we got to go over there and address something. But we had cameras and we had more containers, but we reduced the number of containers and the cameras gone, so that kind of just lead like to more like
All right,
freelance dumping.
okay.
Do we go to Merck at all? Or we don't go to Merck.
We don't use Merck Road Transfer for anything. We use Pratt Recycling and we use Republic Transfer in East
Right.
Point for the waste.
I hate to keep going off script, but
Yes, sir.
if there was a 1 day a week, one time a week pickup, what would we see it in our numbers? In our what? Would it reflect in our revenue if we only went to 1 day a week?
Realistically, I can't even go like half a day, like with the amount of cans we got and the amount of waste that we receive. Like if I go a week, it'd be like a landfill.
So we can't do 1 day.
No, sir. It wouldn't be like effective,
Okay.
like
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Line 526170, contractual services. I see that's for Keep College Park Beautiful service contract. Is that Georgia Works?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
We weren't on page 2
Page
yet.
2 at the bottom. Contract service.
I thought we were at 2 here.
No, we were on page 1, but are there any other questions are there any other questions on page 1? All right, so page 2, yes, that is Georgia Works.
Okay, I have a question on that line. It might be Councilman Collins' question. Well, they gave me a copy of a contract that's $190,000, saying that that's what they need to continue to maintain the request. Is anybody want to comment on that?
I wouldn't agree
Miss
with that.
Kelly? Ma'am?
Ms. Come on down.
No, I'm saying, I was presented with a copy that they have like a 200% increase.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm saying, is it reflected?
Oh, no, it's not reflected here. No, sir. I didn't receive that before I did a budget or anything like that. I just went based off the last year's number of the 960 a week. Because like now we have the ambassadors also, so they kind of help with the picking up the paper. So we like, if anything, we could like, look into like trying to reduce that in some kind of way. Because we have ambassadors here 24/7. Well, like not 24/7, but on a daily basis now. So they're collecting litter in every ward every day. So like instead of having Georgia Works come in one time a week and then doing that, like we
Are the ambassadors contract? Or are they salary?
Contract.
They're contracted.
Yeah.
The difference, okay, we have the
Georgia Works people who are contracted to 1 day a week. Their contract says that they are doing 8 streets a week, and they generate about, the first year they generated 3.5 tons of material in that once a week pickup every week. I haven't done it for this second year. The difference in why they have so much is that although they are contracted for 8 streets, they actually do any streets we ask them to do. So they do the 8 streets and anything else. The difference between how much they pick up and how much our ambassadors together pick up, I've started asking the ambassadors to give us a list. The difference in, even though I'm asking for bags, some of the ambassador bags are a fourth full, but it's still counted as a bag, okay? Because we're not out there doing whatever. With Georgia Works, all their bags are filled bags. They will combine bags. That's how their number is so much higher than what it would be with the ambassadors. I think the ambassadors are good, but there's also only one person. One of them does not have a vehicle at all. That's the one in your area. I know you don't know them, but I'm no. I know, but I'm just sharing. Okay. And then the other 3 have their own vehicles that they have been using. And so they go where they were told to go wherever there were quote unquote hot spots or heavily littered areas. That's where they were asked to go. Now, does that cover your whole area? I don't know, and I'm not saying that it does, okay? So that's the difference in what we have there.
With that being said, like, but is it like, worth like, but like that kind of an increase, do you think would it be worth that though?
Okay, the difference in what they presented to you all, presented to you in the budget that they, or the thing that they sent to, as I understood it, it went to mayor and council. I don't know how many other people.
I just got a copy of it.
Okay, but at any rate, whomever it went to, what they were covering was additional streets, that covered additional streets above the 8 that they already had, and it also covered their supplies. They went into the initial contract with us as a trial. It was a trial where the only thing they were really being paid for were for the 8 guys that come out every week. They were paid for those 8 guys, okay? They were not paid for gas. They weren't paid for dumping. They weren't paid for any of the other things. They weren't paid for supervision of those people. It was just those 8 guys for whatever.
So what's your recommendation for the budget?
My recommendation for the budget?
Yeah, since you over it, is it to stay the same number? Do we just keep this number?
What do you think?
I think first that the council needs to decide whether or not they want to stick with just 8 streets and just say what different 8 streets that they want to do. I'm saying that because I don't know what you're thinking in your head.
What is your recommendation?
My recommendation, if you want them to increase for what they are, you're going to have to pay them more. Okay. Now, does it need to be 198? I don't know.
Okay, so can you bring back towards the end?
I will do that.
Please, Cedric, y'all too.
Yes,
Please.
sir.
Thank you. I got a line item, next one. The dog catcher, 6140.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, his actual was at almost the end of the quarter, he's only at
24.
He's at 100% of budget.
But yeah, we got another bill coming. They come every quarter, so that's 3 bills. That's 3 bills reflected. So we got one more bill coming. Like the fees are increasing, so I just went up to 40, like just to make sure that we can cover all 4 quarters, just on an average of like 10,000
So the
apiece.
4th quarter bill isn't in the actual.
Oh no, not yet.
But it's.
I just received it maybe today or yesterday.
How much it was?
I'm not sure.
Just.
I'm not sure. I believe like 11,000. I'm not sure. Just off the top of my head.
I think it's like 12,000.
Okay. Yeah. I just received it. Yeah.
Council member, that's we agreed contractually with Fulton County on that. Everybody pays every city pays a share.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
And
40,000 is
it
our
went
Oh,
up.
yeah, it should cover everything like with the, next year, with all the increases and
Okay.
everything.
We don't spend all of that though, I don't think, with Fulton
Okay.
County.
It don't look like you spent it all.
Yeah, we haven't, put the fourth quarter
But
bill.
he didn't
Every
get that.
every city gets it. Every
Sharing the cost, so it's,
Yes.
our city may do less, but we're sharing it. It's being divided whether or not you spend it or not. That's what my
every city has
understanding
to has
was.
to pay their
There's
share.
an IGA agreement.
Right.
Okay. And 50, 6,600, zero workers, what is that?
Workers' comp.
Yeah, we don't touch that.
Well, so why knows money and you had, well, actually, you didn't have any actual.
Yeah, there's 13, 13, 39.
Workers' comp, like, but you don't have nothing budgeted. No budget. You don't expect nobody to get hurt, I guess.
Yes, we've been lucky. Cedric, had a question in regards to the,
We getting there.
in regards to the sanitation ambassadors and the code enforcement ambassadors. One of the things, bringing on additional people, we're not gonna, get 4, 5, 8 vehicles or whatever have you. So the UTVs, I purchased a couple of them.
Yes, sir.
But the high litter corridors fortunately do have adequate sidewalks. So the thought was to have those UTVs along Gotney Road, the corridor where their job is just to hit both sides. It's a double-sided sidewalk.
Yes,
and they
sir.
could cover that 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah, quickly.
Without having to expend on the vehicle for those. And they can stay on the sidewalk. Same with the Camp Creek corridors, the corridors in Ward 1 as well that have sidewalk coverage for those vehicles. So I want us to look at putting a few more in. I think we RFP'd a couple more.
Yes, sir.
But if we've got technically 8 part-timers there, at minimum 4 vehicles is what we're gonna need. Because code enforcement, we're not gonna give the 4 new officers 4 trucks.
Okay,
obviously.
yes, sir.
But a lot of their coverage for code enforcement and ambassadors are where the violations are the highest. Multifamily apartments,
Okay.
motels, and convenience store areas.
Yes, sir.
We cover those and start really turning the heat up, that's gonna eliminate a lot of the blight. And, but if they're in the smaller vehicles where they can get around and affordably, so, we may need to put in a few more of those, so we won't have to, give them full vehicles, exclusively for themselves.
No.
I'm just
understand that.
speaking
He was
to
saying
the,
my sanitation
sanitation
ambassadors, like, it's the
ambassadors.
same principle. Yes, sir.
You got 4, mine's got, I put them in my enhancement budget, but
Okay.
I think we're gonna need them, generally for that type of detailed work inside of the apartment communities, cause you see a whole lot more in a UTV than you will driving through.
Yeah,
an
no
apartment
doubt.
complex.
Yeah, it's more
So
personal.
it's gonna make a big
it's a little more
difference.
personal. You out
Which,
there.
okay, no, I said, which leads to another question. Where are our enhancement funds? They've been divided into the departments. So when we're looking at these numbers, the money that we all put into community enhancement for last year, where will we see when we're looking at these departmental numbers, our monies that we have slotted, like for myself, I put money into cultural arts, recreation, Brady Trail. So that's being
Those are currently spread across.
spread across.
Yeah, departments in the 2025 budget.
Okay.
Yes.
And early,
I'm sorry. I don't think I had my conversation with you about my enhancements, did I?
No.
Okay. All right, I was gonna say.
No, I'm talking about when we're looking at the monies from last year in terms of,
I see what you're saying.
when we're looking
Gotcha.
at what was, expenses,
Not
expenditures.
what we are looking for this year.
No, so I
Oh,
guess
I
that
got
number's not even in
I
there
got you.
yet.
No.
So that would change the total budget number as
Yes.
well. So once we put those in, it's gonna,
Okay.
the budget's gonna be, the revenue is gonna be different and the expenditures.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
and earlier the question was asked about the stipends for the Keep College
That's
Park
right.
Beautiful.
They're in your budget?
No, yeah, no. they need to be, like, because Ms. Francis' budget come out of mine, but like, I didn't budget for it because like, it wasn't all like in concrete, like when I did my budget, like, it wasn't like,
Oh, well, we need to add those.
yes, please, like,
those
just to
in.
make sure
Yeah.
that, like, everyone's covered, but yes, ma'am.
Right, and so,
Please.
When Sam was up here talking about building and grounds in the 35 is reflective of my conversation with Mr. Jackson in regards to grants. He asked me how much did I generate this past in this 24 year for grants, 25 year for grants, and how much did I expect to get in the coming year. And I told him that if I were to apply for all the grants that I applied for and receive them, that it would be around the same amount, which was a little over $40,000.
okay,
Okay? If I apply for other things, which I do intend to apply for, it could be more than that because with things that we're working on, tires in sanitation, a facade thing that I'm working on with cotton, it may actually go over that amount, okay? Those would be grants. That had nothing to do, that line item, Rhonda actually sent me where those monies went to, were to revenue and expense for the grants only. That's the only line item that was created, okay?
understood.
Okay, and so I don't know how it's, the things that I do are spread out over all of the divisions within Public Works. When I first got here, there was money in streets, there was money in grounds, there was money in sanitation. And I'd assumed that it was that way because the things that the program does reflects and takes part in all of their things.
Okay,
So I
right.
just didn't want to think that they were putting $35,000 specifically for just something for keep College Park beautiful. The $35,000 was reflective of what may come through grants.
Understood. But we need to include a line for the stipends for the appointees. We talked about it last year. And so if we can go ahead and I guess include it in Cedric's budget for those appointees to get their stipends.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at, specific expenditures for the Keep College Park Beautiful program. And like I said, I don't know where Ms. Francis's compensation comes in. So that's under the that's in the sanitation. That doesn't come out of it'll be just good. That doesn't come out of it's not coming out of anything but your
Part-time budget.
part-time budget.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're part-time. You're a part-time person doing a full-time job. Okay, got you. Part-time person doing a full-time job.
So the stipend amount is the same across the board for $75 now, right?
No, I believe we increased that stipend last year and made them all equivalent to whatever it was that Bida was getting.
Should be at least $75
It
a
was
meeting.
it was $50. for
Yeah,
all-
like.
No, it went to, right, I think we said it was $150.
Everybody's $150?
Yeah,
Yes.
we said,
Ooh.
we even talked about it last year, and we talked
Okay.
about being, making sure that anyone that was appointed got the same amount of money.
I asked that question.
So I'll
when
give
I
Ms.
was
Frank.
asked, and I was told the last document that I received said it was $50. I know what you're
That's what it
talking
used to
about
be.
in the talk that came up. I know in the workshop when it came up in January. You were talking about whether it was 150, but that came up in workshop. We couldn't find, when in January, it was in workshop.
No. We talked about it in our budget discussions
Okay.
last year because
Okay.
it came up when Bida talked about the stipends for their appointees, and we found out that there weren't stipends for some of the other boards, including
My board
Keep.
was established as a volunteer board.
Including Keep College Park Beautiful. At that time, we decided that all of the stipends were going to be the same amount. Vita
I
was
remember
paying
that, yeah.
150, and so that meant that all of the stipends for all of the appointees were gonna be the same.
I remember us
Is that what
going.
you
That-
want?
that's exactly what I
excuse me.
want.
That's a recommendation to keep them all the same, okay? Can you add that? All right, let's keep moving, guys. It's going on 9
And
o'clock.
all of our boards
Thank
are
you.
volunteer boards,
All right.
so everybody on a board is a volunteer, just so
all right.
you know that, yeah, they're all.
Madam Mayor, let's,
Page 2, I've got a question, 5700. So we budgeted about 152,000. We're almost hitting that for the repair and maintenance of vehicles. We have a slight recommendation on an increase there, but
Yeah, I
we've
think
spent a lot of money on that.
Yes, ma'am. Like, and then with the current climate, like all the labor costs and all the parts are going up. So
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
So,
this
yeah,
is page 1, not page 2, isn't it?
It's on page
It's page 2.
I see 5,700.
Yes, repair and maintenance of vehicles. Yes, sir.
That's page 1 of 3.
It's page 2 of 4
Okay.
on the sanitation fund.
Right. I think I'm in the next section. So I moved through.
Mary, can you repeat what you were saying? I'm just trying to see what you're,
That we're already at 100, essentially, we've spent through 3/4 of the year, we're essentially at budget for that.
Yeah, and I just came in the other day and got the approval for the 32,000 for the transmission also. So yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm just saying that 177
Yeah,
doesn't really reflect, I mean,
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
think that's enough?
No, ma'am. No, like
Okay.
no, ma'am, not at all. Well, like now, like what I know now. Well, like when I was doing this, I thought it would be, but like now, what I know now, like as far as like the labor going up and parts and everything going up. So yes, ma'am.
I mean, it looks like it'll be probably, if you're sticking on this year's budget, probably closer to 200,000.
Yes, ma'am.
City manager,
Yes, sir.
where do you think it needs to be?
I think about 200,000 in.
Okay.
And we've come a long way from all the old raggedy trucks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Amen. Amen. All right. Okay.
So I'll say $200,000.
All right.
okay.
And 5810,
Yes, ma'am. That's repair, maintenance, and sanitation containers. But somehow I had 2 loads of new containers. It should have came out of replacement containers.
okay.
But it ended up coming out of repair and maintenance of sanitation containers.
All right, so that's why you think that you can,
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
is that 8 realistic though, given you
yes,
still spent it in 2024, you had 16,000 that you spent on it?
Yeah, like it's mainly like for lids and everything.
Okay.
And like with the welder like not being in, so we're just trying to just get all like new equipment. Like so instead of like trying to like patch and ding like what we can, we're just trying to get like mainly new. But that should cover like the lids and the rods that we should need for that.
Fair enough. And 5680. You're at 80% of budget right now, slightly over. That 50,000 you've got budgeted, you're going up 30%. Is it just what you're anticipating the cost being?
Yes,
yeah,
ma'am. Yeah,
okay.
with like the cost of tires right now, and then like just the wear and tear of them.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. The Georgia Works question was already answered. And 526590.
We don't do anything with that.
Then why do we need $172,000 then?
Mayor, that's a line item that we use to balance the budget for the sanitation fund.
All right.
Yeah, we don't do anything with that. Yes, sir.
Well, luckily we haven't spent anything this year for contingencies. And was there a particular reason that there was a request for nearly $500,000? And the recommendation was closer to 175?
Which line item was that?
It's still the contingencies line item, 526590.
Well, there would have been some changes. For example, when we had the department head make requests, and then the city manager came and made the final recommendation. And so that's why that number went down.
That's not a real.
That's not a real expense, no.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I need to make a statement before we go. I have one of the oldest ward. For 2 decades, we've taken cans back to their houses. For the last month or so, cans are not being taken. I drove my ward last night in the dark. I need the cans to, if we got enough money to pay staff, we need these cans to go back to the door as we've done for two decades.
Yes, sir. Like we find it at the street, we leave it down there. But like we go up there and retrieve it, then like because some people don't want us up there, but we'll make sure all of them
I'm
go
gonna
back.
say this again. I drive my ward at night. I need the cans to go back to the house. If the can's not going back to the house, we gotta have a conversation.
Any other questions on page 2? All right, moving to page 3, 527190, first line. The recycling expense. Can you explain that one? I mean, we haven't spent anything, and I can understand why we would zero it out, but why is there no expense for recycling?
I don't know what that one was used for. To tell you the truth.
What number, please?
Purchase of material and supplies for recycling.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't really just purchase anything. We just take it in the truck, stuff like that. Like we don't have and the bins that we do use for shred, they come out of my repairing containers.
All right.
The secure shred containers come out of that now.
53,700.
Are you gonna,
We don't control gas and oil.
you didn't ask us if we had any questions on page 3, so.
I would had a couple, so I will be there with you just in a second. I get it, but we're at 20. Who puts that number in? Because we're at 21%.
I believe it comes out in the end because like they balance out what departments use, like
Okay,
like
gotcha.
for gas and everything. Like as far as like all my vehicles, it's for all the gas. So like whatever we use in sanitation, like as far as our key fobs or whatever, they'll total it all up in the end and then it come out like that.
Understood.
And then we use it like for gas and DEF. Like so on my end, what I'm using it for is like the DEF fluid to go inside all of the trucks.
I'll trust you on that because I don't know anything about trucks.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I have a question about office, the materials and supplies.
Can I've got a couple more questions and I will get to you. Okay.
You're taking over the whole, I guess, just go ahead, you just handle the meeting then. 'Cause
I'm
you're
happy
not-
I was just running down the list and I will be with you.
But you
right
normally
after.
ask us if we have something first and then you come back with yours. So I was just wondering.
And I will be with you in just one
It's
moment.
fine, go ahead,
Thank
take
you.
your time, take your time, it's
Thank
fine.
you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You're welcome.
537050, medical services and supplies. You had 1828.93 that you've spent so far. That's important stuff. Why'd you only ask for 750? If you need it, you need it.
I'm sorry. Which one?
It's 537050.
Medical supplies.
Yeah, you've spent somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 the last 2 years.
Yeah, I believe like that's for HR, like when like new employees and stuff like that when they get like drug tests and stuff like that. Yeah, but like my other
Okay.
safety supplies, yeah, like I believe that lines for that. But my other safety supply, like gloves and everything, come out of my safety supplies.
Okay, just want to make sure that you got what you need to get what you need done.
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate it.
Do you need computer hardware at 537121? That looks like it got zeroed out.
Yeah, I bought a laptop last year, and
Oh, that's going, IT will be taking care of all that.
Okay.
We zero every department, zero, then IT will take care of that.
Okay. For the landfill charges, is there a lag on that?
yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
What?
we get those bills every 2 weeks, but somehow it's like, yes, ma'am.
The new vehicle that you were requesting, the 547580 for $13,000,
Yes, ma'am.
what were you asking for?
That's for a dump trailer.
A dump trailer?
Yes, ma'am. So that's gonna be like a new piece of equipment, but the other gonna be a vehicle replaced. But yeah, the dump trailer just so we can like if anything down, we can like put limbs and sticks and like bags inside of there, so we can always have like that extra support if anything go down. And then my guys like whenever they get done with their route, they can go on the patrol for sticks and everything like that inside the dump trailer. Instead of having to pull the whole truck.
If you don't get that at 547580, what are you gonna do? It looks like it was zeroed out, but
Just what we've been doing, like just making it
You
happen.
saying the dump trailer is not,
It's 13,000.
It's 13,000.
but I'm saying, we're giving you that, right?
no, it got
No,
zeroed out.
he need that because, he's down now with a truck and the ward hasn't been picked up in 3 weeks. And so he needs that. You need 2 of them actually. He needs that. So, Mr. Jackson, if you would please.
Which one is this now? The arm? or
This
the-
is a dump trailer.
The
It
dump
is
trailer.
line
I'm
547580.
behind a dually truck. So like my puller, so like they don't have to wait on the truck to come by and get it. When
Yeah,
they pull it,
yeah,
they
you
just
need-
go on
you
and
need
throw
that.
it, and then keep moving, then come back and then get the sticks.
Yeah, I mean, Herschel Road by itself.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, like I just try to put a dump. I just try to put a dump trailer in instead of a whole truck. I'm just trying to like find like a solution, like so we can just like still be moving, but without having to get a whole truck.
So how long before the thing is ready?
The rental is here. We started working it today. We started in Ward 4 this morning, and then we're gonna just continue until we catch up with it. But we started today.
547630. What?
55, 76.
That's other equipment new. We had 10,000 budgeted.
Yes, that's for the beautification of recycling center. So I buy my recycling cans with that, and the new signs we put up at the recycling site. All that come out of that budget right there.
For 310,000?
No, the 301,000 like that. That's what the one that with the truck that got paid for, that we don't have yet. Instead of coming out of vehicles replaced.
Oh, okay.
Somehow, yeah, it came out of that line item by mistake. I tried to get it amended, but he said with the system already being taking the money that it wouldn't be right in the end trying to move that money back to the proper line item. But it should come out of vehicles replaced.
Okay. That was just a big one. That was $10,000
no doubt.
or
Yeah,
310.
understood.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions on page 3?
I think the mayor pro tem has some questions.
So funny. This is hilarious. Okay, my question was just that I noticed that with under materials and supplies that you had budgeted 141,000. We're only at 29% of that right now. But then in that overall category, we're still looking at 163,650 for the new year. That's that whole entire category. Now I do notice that we do have a couple of places where you may have spent, there's really just one or two places where you spent a little bit more than you budgeted, but do you feel that is there something in particular that's making you feel like you need 163,650 for this upcoming year for that entire category? I mean, do we think we're going to spend that on materials and supplies? Because that may be somewhere else we can pull from, pull some monies and put it in some other areas.
No, outside of gas and oil, that's my main one inside of that like category. And my chop tools and supplies and janitorial supplies, but no ma'am, I don't see it like.
Because, you probably do, you may not even spend half of what you budgeted by the end of this year. So I'm just saying that may be an area where we can pull from and put it in another. I'm not saying that.
Oh yeah, yes ma'am, I understand.
If you're looking for some additional funds, since we're looking at that, maybe it needs to go into somewhere else.
I think in that category, the gas and oil is that biggest expense. It's 120 of the 163. So I think Mr. Ham was saying he doesn't control that part because of it's split amongst.
It's like a share.
It's a shared.
So yeah, it always come out in the end, like then I'll break it down.
So basically, even though we're on at 25,000 right now, it's possible that may make it to 100,000.
Yeah, later on in the end.
So we won't know till the end. Okay.
That gets
And
trued
Mayor
up towards the
Pro
end.
Tem, If you look at back in 2024, almost 120,000 was spent.
Right. I did see that. I saw that. Yeah.
And then the 25 amended was in on this 141.
Right. No, I guess the question was just, not to say to cut it in half or anything, but we may not make it, it's almost a number that could have just stayed at 145. I think that's what Cedric might have requested, but he requested 145, but was recommended at 163. But if you have a reason why you think that is, that's fine. I'm not gonna, squabble.
We need all the money.
Then okay, then just, yeah.
I think one of the other things to note, and this I think went across departments, was the switch from uniforms to HR, from HR to departments. That happened everywhere. Because when I first saw that in budgets, because uniforms was getting zeroed out, I believe, in HR, and it's moving to department only. So that's an increase of $20,000 there. that I think was probably elsewhere in their budget
Okay.
before.
Okay.
Any other questions on page 3? Moving on to page 4. Just got totals there. Questions on the transaction report? Any of the pages of that?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You're off.
Okay, so my question is for, the equipment for, wait a minute.
Which line?
What page are you on the
I'm on
transaction
page,
report?
yeah, I'm still on, God, be more careful. I'm on page 104, and I'm looking at account 525730, where we have the equipment, right? We just talked earlier about the subscriptions going to IT, right? Did we not? But they're still showing up here.
They
Yeah,
need to
I just
be.
transferred it.
They actually are and have been transferred on the budget worksheet side. We need to remove them from the budget transaction report as well.
Okay. Is that going to throw off the balance, though?
No.
Okay. I mean, for the department itself, not for the overall budget, but just for the department?
No,
Okay.
it's not going to throw it off.
Any other questions on the transaction report? Questions on any of the supporting documentation?
I have a question. Cedric, I noticed that on your Exhibit C, which is your full-time positions, that you are eliminating the recycling coordinator. Is that?
No, the recycle coordinator got put into the sanitation coordinator because they merged the supervisor and the recycle coordinator together to a couple years back. That was my original position. I was sanitation coordinator.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, like I got it just reflected on here, but yeah, it's a sanitation coordinator now.
Okay.
They just merged the two positions together, and then just incorporated Miss Francis.
Miss Francis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Cool beans. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on the supporting documentation? Hearing none, we'll move over to stormwater utility.
Let me make sure I take care of that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Hey, make sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking care. I just want to make sure I take care of it. Yes, sir.
Got
Yeah,
a,
have a go.
thank you.
All right.
Got a question on the first line,
Which page?
page 1 of the worksheet?
1 of 3, right?
Yes, sir, 1 of 3.
Okay. Which-
First line, 344110.
Sales to residential customers, 150.
We're already over budget on that, but we were budgeting the same amount for next year. Looks like we're doing pretty well in terms of sales to residential customers. So I was just curious about why we're not anticipating something in the same realm of where we are right now.
Well, one of the things with this particular budget, particularly as it relates to some of the property tax lines, Mr. Phil Latona, we're looking to be as conservative as we can with certain revenue lines going into the new fiscal year.
Okay. Any other questions on page 1?
1100 federal grants. We don't anticipate any. We had 800,000 actual. What was that, Mr. Cotton, and why don't we anticipate any more federal grants?
That grant, AB, the city engineer, is still in the process of getting all the paperwork that is needed. All the project has already been located. We just, he's just trying to get the, take care with the federal grant administrator about some more paperwork that need to be done before we get the funds for it.
So that
Council,
may,
I think I might have the answer for you on that one.
Okay.
That was congressionally directed spending. That was Congresswoman Williams who got that for us. So I don't know.
That's the
that-
800, right?
Yes, sir. So
Well,
I don't know that we would anticipate that we would budget in.
Or we don't budget in
Yeah.
what we anticipate,
Yeah.
only at what we receive.
Yeah.
Okay. Answer my question.
Any other questions on page 1? All right, I've got a couple questions on page 2. 526170. It looks like we budgeted for EPD reports in that line item. But based upon what we've already spent, is that something that's just gonna come in the next quarter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because I hadn't received the invoice from Lisa Ferret that does our EP report, and also some of that fund is from to assist the help Monroe for water sampling if it needed, because his report goes in as well as my reports.
And
I have a question on 6170. Ms. Khan, you know, we have met at several creeks in Ward 4, and that's wanting to be, they feel that the city's responsible. Would that come out of contractor services? You know, we met over with some contractors.
Yeah, we have to do any type of maintenance. Oh,
sir.
Oh, sorry.
Where would it come from?
If we have to do any type of maintenance, if I'm not mistaken, that funds will come out of 7770, improvement storm and sewer.
777, what page that'll be on?
It's further down. It's under capital outlay.
77?
Yes.
547770.
Right.
Ernest Smith.
Damn. Hey, what page is that on?
It's on page 2.
Page 2.
I had a question why we didn't use any of that.
So what's there now? What do we have for that budget?
200.
For if we were to do any,
Yes, for that, I put 200 in there for the ongoing mitigation. If I see a problem that need to be addressed in any one ward.
but I'm saying, when we met out there, our conversation was that we couldn't do it now, but we would put it in, that's what we told Tangi, that's what we told Beverly, that we would put it in this upcoming budget.
Yeah, that could be used for that.
So it is in this number.
That's correct.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Mr. Cotton, on 547770, we've got 975 budgeted and we haven't used any.
Well, yeah.
That's that same line, 547770.
Is that a placeholder?
No, not a placeholder for that.
No, contingencies is up higher.
So we just found some money?
Well, I mean, I'm just.
Well, I didn't.
But I mean, if we're you know, the conversation that we had on Monday is that we are millions of dollars to the good. This is one chunk right here where we haven't touched it, and I know we've got some storm sewers that could.
Well, then.
Right.
And why couldn't this money be used?
Well, taking this for here, I didn't bother this form because I was going to utilize this because I thought we was getting the $800,000 grant because we got to have a 20% match.
Sure. Okay.
So that's 160. What is 160 to
Yep.
go with this 800 grant? So I didn't want to pull this and spend this. Then I'm coming back and ask you all for money to cover for
To the
it.
match.
All right. Well, so that's 160, but
You still would have approximately
you still
$500,000.
got yeah.
Yeah.
So we at an important point right now. So, the city manager, then there's an opportunity to work on some of the storm creeks that we are responsible for, that we've not done in years. You know what I'm saying? And now y'all got creeks too. I don't know if your constituents not calling you. Mine's calling me.
The city manager, I also have a major, I talked to you about the stormwater issue at the Willis Park that we need to,
Yes, sir.
so I want to make sure we earmark that.
So city manager, if this money is there, could we then authorize Mr. Khan to, I mean, these are small repairs, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Could we do that? I think we're talking, Kimmy was on 80 plus, and he didn't give us a price.
And
for
then
that.
also remember, I got, AB, the city engineer, to look at, to make sure that it's state water versus.
No, we're not
No,
doing that
no,
tonight.
I'm just saying,
No.
if you got, I'm serious, that's why I had to go through the engineer.
I don't want to get into a bait here, but here's
Right.
what he's saying. You know the stormwater drains on the streets?
Yes.
The water go from our streets that we maintain and go through a pipe to a reservoir. What residents are telling me, since they lived here, we have kept them clean. They get clogged up. The one on York is full of trash. We're not gonna call the state because it's a maintenance issue.
No, I didn't say call the state.
What you saying?
I said there's different type of water that run through these structures.
Meaning what?
If you go to touching and like fishes and where that water coming from, where that water go to, you're gonna have a problem with.
Okay,
I'm just saying. That's why.
understand
but
that.
I'm just saying. That's why I'll go through the engineering.
We don't
he can
need
just
an
check
engi-
and follow what
well,
kind of water
okay,
run
well,
through.
but we
can do maintenance.
Oh, well,
but
let's
I'm just
start
saying,
there. Let's start there.
yeah.
I've been hearing that conversation since 2015. Let's start there.
I've got one more question on that page. 58,2200. Why are we just not budgeting what we're spending? Because it's a relatively small difference, but we're spending that same amount of 12,000 and change the last 2 years. Why wouldn't we just budget 12,000 and change for it?
In the 98, Terry, 98, 68.
Right, to do the 12,000.
Yeah, it looks like that is the interest on it, so. Other questions on page 2? Page 3 is just totals with that note payable on the principal. Looks like that's on target. Questions on the transaction report?
Raymond, Nancy, we take it right and check on it.
You just found out.
I'm sorry, Yeah, I got you.
Flower Drive.
It's 547770.
Okay.
Sorry, excuse my reach there. All right, so questions on the supporting documentation? I'm sorry, did you have questions on that?
So when we look at the supporting documentation for 547770, there is a breakout that talks about the stormwater sewer installation for 3336 Flowers Drive for 300,000.
Yep.
And then also 200,000 for. So
It's
the
page
detail.
2 of 2 on the transaction report.
Okay.
So right here.
Okay.
So there's 300 of that 500,000 that's going to be allocated to Flowers Drive. Correct?
Correct.
All right. And then it's 200,000 that looks like it's not necessarily allocated to anything, but is this where you're parking your match?
Yes, part of that is.
Okay.
But he didn't take the
Oh,
300
now you
out
confuse
of
me.
He didn't take the 300
Oh,
out
I'm
of
sorry.
the,
Because this is for FY26. Were you parking your match in this budget on that 900 and change, or are you parking it for 26 in?
I see what you're saying.
He didn't take it out of this one.
For I got you.
Right. That one, because we haven't received it.
Understood.
It's not-
I got
so-
you.
I
so
gotta
you're-
have a cushion, so
Yeah, I
when the
get it.
next budget kick in, where my money going?
So the 200,000,
So I gotta continue to keep budgeting it until I get my 800 grand.
understood. So essentially,
have to
you've
pay
got you've got the match for the 800 in FY 26
Right.
under 54,770 for improvement stormwater ongoing mitigation projects. Okay, so that means that entire sorry, I apologize.
Keep going, keep going.
That entire 900 and change is available. Nothing's been spent on that.
All right.
Okay. All right. Any questions on the supporting documentation?
Been holding back. You don't want to spend no money, do you?
Oh, I do have a question on supporting documentation. Exhibit H,
Exhibit H, what page?
the ongoing mitigation project. It's that, this one says provide storm sewer improvement on Lyle to prevent flooding to homeowner property. The funding source is the Stormwater Utilities Fund. My question was, could we use most?
That's a,
You can,
that's a,
you can use more for stormwater.
I think,
Most is for water and sewer.
I thought Jackson got it in, I got stormwater in there as well.
If he used it, he was wrong.
No, I'm saying that in the legislation.
the mayor actually brings up a good point. I mean, that's my argument. And y'all are quick to say you can't. I think that needs to be looked at by the city attorney, or what's her name? No, the language.
Just take a look at the legislation, it's gonna specify.
Right, I believe he got stormwater in there as well.
Yeah.
But let's just check and see, that way we know.
Yeah, that's a
So
good.
the most legislation, I guess the clerk's office is gonna have that,
Ms. Clerk,
most
could you
legislation that we passed, that
pull the
we got passed a
legislation
couple of years ago.
on the most tax?
Yes, sir.
College Park's most.
Tim, do you have a copy of I have a copy, somewhere. The most, what you can use this for, what you cannot use this for. Okay.
So that,
Send everyone a copy.
yeah, and then city manager, if you could have Danielle McCarty and one of those guys take a look at it.
Yes, sir.
Cause if it can be used, it'll make a tremendous difference. No, if it, yeah, it could.
But then, that most, he already spent all that though, from his presentation.
Yeah,
He already.
yeah.
But
It
he's
does
waiting
not,
on
and
800.
it is still just for, water and sewer projects.
Not stormwater.
It does not say stormwater.
Okay, well,
I was incorrect about it. That's why I was asking the question.
Stormwater tax. Yeah.
So we don't need it? I wouldn't mind taking a look, man, at y'all and start talking.
But anyway, all right. Any other questions on the supporting documentation? All right, we'll move on to water and sewer.
Thank you, Mr. Raymond.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Can you let the council know if it's, and the city manager, if you do get a, date certain on the streets pavement, cause they do have to put stuff on mailboxes
Yeah, I sure will.
and move calls.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah, could you let us know?
I will.
Communication with.
Yeah. 'Cause we don't need him going back and saying he can't do it because.
No.
Hello. All right. So we're moving the accounting of the most to a different place, correct? 3600.
Which line item?
It is the first line. I think I saw it later on, but
On page 104?
We're on page 104.
We're not on
So-
most, yeah.
We're on water and sewer
Water and
fund.
sewer.
I think it's, well, I think it's moved
Most is
out.
the next tab, yeah.
It's moving out of water and sewer, right? It's moving, I think it was moved into water and sewer, and now we're moving it
Out.
out.
Correct, it is separate.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right, okay. Okay. So is there a question on this page?
That was the question on that page, because 31,600, just confirming that. Because if you look, it says it.
Yes, that is a change, yes.
All right. Any other questions on page 1? Moving on to page 2. Mr., well, either one of you. 5,700. Are we anticipating that new vehicles will kind of drive down repair and maintenance next year?
Yes.
All right. And on 5,800, repair and maintenance sewers. We haven't hit 3/4 of the budget there.
Well, actually.
Okay, well, actually.
We have invoices that
Make sure you-
hasn't been updated yet.
Okay.
And we actually just done another project that was, I think, 140-some thousand.
Okay.
Repairing a sewer leak that's inside of a creek. So we have other invoices that's gonna come up and they're gonna.
I thought that was most, Tim, they repair the creek.
No, this is different. No, this is different. This just happened.
Okay. Okay.
Other questions on page 2? Moving on to page 3.
I have a question, I'm sorry. This is now, audit fees, 5460, is that just put in all of them?
We don't do that.
No, I'm just saying, I know we don't do it, but I'm saying, it has a number though, right?
No, I'm saying.
3,500.
Yeah, they come, City Hall put that in.
No, I get it, I'm just asking a question, is that a number that we put across the board for? Do you splitting up the auditors' costs through the, who was the audit fees?
We have to check the transaction in.
Okay. Tim, who is the audit fees?
Well, legal and audit, they haven't spent anything, but
3,500.
Let's see the transaction.
mhm.
You got, legal, 9,
Oh, it's an annual Georgia EPD water audit fee.
okay. So that's what you use the 35, and what about the legal, since you're on that page? 5450, what does he got for the legal? That's something we pay for, what?
450.
That's outside of Denmark and Finchon?
Talking about the city manager.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's water.
For the city manager.
Yeah, water and sewer issues. That's $1,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was 9, my bad. I thought it was on.
It says 5
It's
for
5?
legal. Are we talking about legal?
Yes.
5,000.
Yeah, 5.
So that's a number you put in to cover some legal, and that'll be outside of Finchon, Denmark, I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
526590. Contingencies go down to 0. That's a,
52, 55, 90.
no, 526590.
Contingencies.
Right.
Contingencies is whatever we don't use in the prior year, so they put it into contingencies to balance out the budget.
All right. So we just, you're going to use everything up?
Can I ask the question? I'm sorry. A financial question. Could you put contingencies in red or something, or some kind of?
Yeah.
I mean, cause you saying that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
hell, I don't know that.
Yeah.
When I
Might
first
be
started
pulling
doing
out,
it,
you
I
know.
didn't know
Yeah.
contingency.
We was over $2 million. You done said contingency tonight, and I don't know. And I don't even know if you can do that according to general account principle. Can you do that?
Well, the goal is to balance the enterprise budget.
Right.
Which we should do as a practice.
No, but I'm not an accountant, and I understand that. But can you put an arbitrary number in a budget to balance a budget? Can you do that? Can you do that?
It's a standard practice across, local governments, yeah.
So how do you come up with it?
Usually
It's self.
Well, actually, it reflects too much revenue.
Yeah, and usually
In the budget.
if you think about at home, you might call it your reserves.
Yeah.
So
this is a real dollar amount that we can count on towards the end of this budget, right?
Yes.
It's contingency.
correct.
The same thing.
Used to be every department had a contingency amount. We have never spent an entire budget. We'll never spend an actual entire
Well,
budget.
that's what you've been saying all this time.
never
When you
have.
come down here talking about
But we never have. And
we don't have money, we blow
We
money.
always have.
We got all these
We
contingencies
always
here.
Contingencies and reserves.
Percentage of
Very,
selling amount,
very.
that's put down as a
Always have.
contingency.
So may I please have at the end of our audit, can we have a total contingency fund?
I agree.
line?
Yeah.
That's back to the program. That's back to the program budgeting, right? And then also, I'm sure you'll probably do this anyway, Terry, but making sure that we do have a percentage of that
Okay.
for reserves, that we're tucking it away
Yes.
for our rainy day
Going into
funds.
the general fund reserve?
No, just having,
Fund balance.
exactly, some reserves in case of emergency.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Just sort of overall in materials and supplies, there's a number of line items where you've exceeded your budget, but you've put the same amount back in. If you're spending it, you're spending it. I mean, from stationery to printing, medical services, other operating supplies. I mean, they're just tool shop supplies. If you need those things, you need those things. The number might as well reflect.
Stay within your contingencies.
If we purchase all new stuff, we shouldn't have to do it again the next year.
And that's what I was gonna say. I know with my budget, there's sometimes I might have gone on 3 vacations last year and I spent a certain amount of money, but this year I know I'm not. And so should I put $30,000 for vacations into my budget for next year because I spent it last year? Things change.
I mean, did you buy all new tools and you're not gonna need anything? Cause you're already at 108% over budget.
So, yeah,
I mean, do you need any tools for the next quarter? If you do, that's fine.
No, we good on the tools. Well, when July 1st come, we get the new budget, then we go as we need.
Okay, but if there's not enough there budgeted for what you need, just put it down.
We're trying to give you some money.
But they're gonna take from somewhere else.
That's what contingency is for.
All right, we got that,
So,
come on,
the
guys.
line item 536010, is that a billing lag on the cost of water?
Water purchases?
Yes, sir. Because you're at 50% of budget there. Is that just a lag from East Point?
Yes.
Or wherever we pay a number of people for water, but
I think we like a month or two behind.
gotcha.
In paying East Point?
Well, they bill you a month.
Before, right, okay.
Any other questions on page 3? Moving on to page 4.
I do have, man, I'm sorry. Speaking of water purchases, I don't see a Clayton County water bill. Don't we buy some of their water? I don't see that bill. But I mean, where is they at down here?
Is that broken down in water
It's in
purchases?
that number? I just heard you say East Point.
I said East Point.
Yeah, I didn't say.
I said East Point, and I said we from other folks as well.
So all of our provide,
Yeah,
East
yeah.
Point and Clayton is in this number.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And we don't get that.
little bit of it.
Page 4.
And it goes to Conrad, right?
Page 404?
Page 4 or 5. The anticipation of the transfer out to the general fund of 1.3 million. 61,100. Can
I only have 4.
This is page
Only
3.
have 4.
I'm on
I
lost.
only have 4 pages for
I got 404.
It's only 4 pages.
Maybe y'all not on the right. 404?
wait, 4 or 5?
It's on page 3. Page 3 of 4.
Okay,
So page 3 or 4, and the computer people got.
the computer people got something different.
Okay. All right, so what's that line item on our?
61,100.
61,100.
That's right. Well, it's the right line item though. It's a different page, but it's the 61,100 is in our book.
Yes.
So what was the question?
That transfer out to the general fund, where is that number coming from? Is that just a balancing?
It is.
Okay.
Would that be an actual amount that'll go out?
Yes.
Okay. And it'll take
Based
out
upon the budget, right?
and it come out of those contingencies total?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Got a question on,
I understand.
and I'm not sure where what page this is on for you. But line 54, 1400, the infrastructure, 434, 525 that we spent this year.
3 or 4.
Woo. Do you wanna know what we spent the 434 on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Tim? That's $443,525. It says vehicles. Wait a minute.
It says infrastructure.
Oh, infrastructure.
So what is that?
It's on page 3 of
No, I yeah, I'm looking at
What line? It's 3 or 4 and what line item?
Right above.
What line item?
54, 1400.
page 3 or 4.
But there's no money in the budget, so you wouldn't see any activity in the transaction.
Okay.
No, we haven't spent anything. I don't know.
So that's-
I don't
that-
know what
Mr. Jackson, can you get us a sub ledger detail on that?
Yes. I can actually do it for 54, 1400 and 54,
7750?
So, yeah, 75, every vehicle replaced. I know, yeah, got about 4 or 5 new trucks.
So 54, 1400, you're saying that that's money there? We just don't know what it's for? Is that what you're saying?
It's saying its money's been spent,
Yes.
but it
You don't
wasn't
know.
budgeted for.
Oh,
And so we're trying to figure out what it is.
got it.
Um,
I see it.
and with 54, 7800, you spent about 100, you're 150% over budget there.
What page?
Is new meters.
Oh, with that was, we order, every year we order new meters. And when they came in, we had exhausted that. So, we met with the fire department, they needed some meters, which was like over 100-some thousand. And it was supposed to be taken out the most fund.
Mr. Dorsey, can you make sure you go down?
Sorry. And it was supposed to be taken out the most fund, but they took it out the meters.
Okay. Just want to make sure that what you budgeted for next year is what you're going to need. Other questions? questions, I won't call a page number because we've got some differing pages, but other questions for the water sewer fund?
Did we address 61-1100? We addressed that? 61-1100, we addressed that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we did.
What did we say?
That's the budget balancing number.
Okay, all right.
Questions on the transaction report? How many pages do y'all have? We've got 5 electronically.
5.
Okay, great.
Well, before we do that, I think, I'm sorry, did we address 58-1100? I'm getting confused. We addressed that, 58-1100?
We
the
did
bond?
not. We did not.
So that bond is paid in, what was that bond for? It's 50, it's 565,000, and then in 2025, 565,000. I just simply want to know what that was. Huh?
Well, to my knowledge, that been with us ever since we took the seats.
It's just been rolling over, carrying over is what you're saying. That's an Ed Wall question.
Yep.
But it looks like we don't have to pay anything this upcoming year on that.
Right.
So
But I just want to know
okay, just to find out what it was for.
what bond debt
What
that
it was,
was for.
okay.
But I think no, there's 565 budgeted again. So that may not have been a department head thing that was entered, but
Which one are you speaking?
Where's 565 budgeted again?
58-1100, yep. Mm-hmm.
58-1100.
You saying budgeted in 2025 actual?
Where is it in
2026.
Where is it? I don't see, it's not there on mine.
It's not there in 2026.
We don't have it in 2026.
We see it.
It's not on ours.
Yeah, it's right there. So
Ours shows 565 and then nothing in 2026. 0.
So.
That's not correct. There is budgeted with it. Actually, let me double check this figure because this might be a situation where we don't have to do a payment for 2026, but I need to confirm and verify.
okay, thank you.
All right. And also
Why are our
verify
reports
what the
different?
payment is for.
Okay.
I just have a basic question. Why are our reports different?
Yeah,
Just in this
I don't
section right here,
understand.
it seems like.
Well, no, because we have other areas where it looked like the numbers were different. What's yours dated? What is yours?
4/7/2025.
Ours is 4.9.
4.7.
Yeah, so we got different reports.
Well, but all of your numbers have been consistent, and I've been hearing only with the difference of a couple items.
Right.
What's been different is your page numbers, and now you just brought up a different line item on bonds.
Well, it's the different numbers that we've caught. There may be more different numbers, we don't know, but there's obviously a difference with the electronic version of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 3-day difference, I don't think makes a difference in that kind of money being omitted, but it's
But
worth taking
we'll take a look at
it.
it
Yeah.
and see what the issue is.
Any other questions in the worksheet report? Moving on to the transaction report. I think you said you do have 5 pages of that? Is that right? Okay. Any questions on those 5 pages? Any questions on this? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Just back to, and since we're on the page numbers now, 2 of 5, again, we are back to the IT information, the equipment showing
Yes.
here.
This is an enterprise fund, so we are including telephone, IT-related equipment under this fund.
The
Expenses for it.
The software.
General fund cannot pay for enterprise. Enterprise fund has to be, on its own.
So
You
even with
can't
the,
use general fund to pay.
even with the software, okay, all right, I'm just asking, okay.
Additional-
Vacancies in water sewer?
Yes, we have two. And we're in the process of filling. Yes, we have two vacancies and we're in the process of filling them now.
That's 2 out of the 18.
Yes, yes, correct.
Okay.
And what those vacancies is, sir?
A labor 1 and a labor 2.
Okay.
Any questions on the supporting documentation?
I have a question. It's not that serious. Do you have enough money covered for your annual current events? Like, don't you have like a power week, something like that? Because Teresa asked something about can we donate? Teresa asked about donating to y'all's power week.
Yeah,
What talk about that?
Actually, what it is, the other divisions don't have the money. Because it's the public work week, we all put in so much money. The other divisions didn't have.
Which would be the other divisions?
Highways and streets, sanitation, and parks and ground.
And that's for what week?
Public work week.
And that's coming up, right?
Yes.
Can you take it out of the contingency we just run?
I don't think so. I think they.
Well, I wasn't trying to be funny, but she really did say to me today that she's asking departments to contribute.
What about the multi-departmental cost line? There's like $2 million in there.
This was the
Which
first
line was
time
that? Which
that
line was
It's
that?
not, it's not in this budget.
I figured
Which,
something
I
had
didn't want to know
changed or
anyway.
something.
What line?
Was there-
Where's that money?
I mean, if there's a
It's
need,
multi-departmental
what was
costs.
the
I'll
difference?
show you.
with it? She was asking individual council members to contribute $1,000.
She didn't say anything out, and I was prepared, he didn't say.
You talking about
So
Teresa?
y'all short?
Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Yes,
Right,
Cassandra.
Cassandra.
It's Cassandra, yeah. No,
I'm just saying, you got that. Okay, so, all right, so she, Dr.
but,
City
okay,
Manager.
let's focus.
manager gonna
We're in the home stretch here.
Okay.
But there's plenty of money in multi-departmental costs to make sure the Public Works Week is amazing. Are there any additional questions in water and sewer on the supporting documentation? All right, moving on to most. My only question for most is that $8 million is budgeted, but based upon the tax revenue that we've received in the fiscal year thus far, if you are annualizing that, we would expect closer to $9.4 million. So why the $8 million number?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. On page 1 of 1, on the budget worksheet, at 31,3600, the anticipated revenue is $8 million on most.
Okay.
But based upon, if you got to go back to water and sewer, most has brought in, thus far it's brought in about $7 million. And we're 3/4 of the way through the year. So my question was, it looks like it'd be closer to almost $9.5 million.
Not 8.
Correct. I mean, and that's, and look, it could be the economy thing. I was just asking. Where'd the number come from?
Yeah, we're trying to be conservative as possible with the revenue projections.
All right. Any other questions on most?
Yes. Is the most expense line on this page?
Right here.
Yes.
Okay, and let me, hold on, let me see, this expense line,
Capital improvement.
how much does it take out for this year? It takes the whole amount out?
Yes.
And where is that going on?
It did a presentation.
Where'd that 8 million going to? The water treatment?
Yeah, well,
The
actually-
lift station?
No, we had service lines replaced throughout the year, and we utilized the most funds for those.
Okay, I understand. I guess what I'm asking is, for the purpose of the budget, are you saying that we're gonna use $8 million on water sewer line repairs?
Yes.
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
I think it's generally listed as capital improvements. but-
So before we get out of here, talk a little bit about lift station, because I know that was supposed to be a big number. So how are we gonna fund that, Tim?
Well, you know, we received, well, we haven't received the grant yet, the 2.5. So we got to give half, which is 700,000.
And that'll come from this. That 700 gonna come from where?
The 700 would come, 20% would come from most, but we're gonna take 2.5 million from most to complete the lift station.
Okay, but you just said you're gonna spend 8, so it's coming out as 8 million.
Yeah, it's gonna come out to 8 million.
2.5 coming out 8 million.
Yes.
No. We have 2.5 coming from the federal government, and we have to match that with 20%.
Which
And
is
then
7.
there are some other work that needs to be done.
So those anticipated grants are not on this.
No,
No.
not at all.
But it is a real expense though, right?
Yes, yes.
It's gonna be a real expense.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
that expense is not gonna be on this paper.
No.
Okay.
I would surmise that $2.5 million was posted on a previous year, because it was the same year and the same congressionally directed spending. It was that stormwater of $800,000 and the $2.5 million for the lift station. So I bet if we were looking back because you saw that 800,000 posted in a previous year, I'm guessing that 2.5 has also been posted as well. Does that make sense? But the $2.5 million still hasn't been pulled down from the federal government. But we'll need a 20% match on that, and then money on top of that to actually complete the project.
And does the lift station, will it survive that long?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a great
Because what I've heard is that you.
Mr. Lewis?
Son?
We
So let's
pray
question another
it
way.
does.
Could we add a bond debt in this? Could we add a bond? What I heard was the lift station was in operable repair.
Yes, it is.
And that lift station provides what to what?
It transferred the sewage from College Park up to City of Atlanta for it to be treated.
So what would happen if that were to break or not be able to do it? Where would we take the money from? Which is my point, Councilman Cohen. Why don't we look at adding a bond debt to this budget to cover that lift station?
Well, not unless we absolutely have to. I mean, more bond debt is not great for anybody's bottom line.
I mean, for the sake of our credit, I won't take any bond, right now, sir.
Where would the money come from if the lift
And
station?
what would the cost be for a lift station repair? We've had lift station repairs
Well,
before.
yeah, actually, we the repair and maintenance is come out this what is 5,800. We have a budget there for the lift station. I think it's like 600 some thousand. So that's just for the patching and.
Where was that at? Where was that at?
It's in sewer. Just I had to find it.
But it's in what we just looked at?
Yes.
It was a $600,000 number?
Repair and maintenance to sewers, $628,200.
What did you spend last year in repair and maintenance? Just curious.
Repair and maintenance sewers, $628,000.
So that's without a lift station going down, obviously. So you spend that and then some.
Yeah.
As is.
Good.
So if a lift station went down, assume you're gonna spend $500,000 or $600,000 still for.
Well, hopefully, yeah, that's for everything. But hopefully, it doesn't be that much. If it goes down, it's normally because a pump went out or the power has went out.
Normally, what is that? What that
So
cost?
we put a Band-Aid, probably, well, it don't went up now, cause the pumps used to be 35,000. Now we had one, a quote, is 89 and 90 some thousand.
So it's in the realm of the contingency amounts we got.
Yes, correct.
And you don't expect any other unexpected contingencies for the lift station? That's what I'm asking. Lift station good?
No,
I feel like you want them to have a crystal ball. Like you don't expect anything
It's
unexpected.
not that, but we've had conversations about the lift station because you did an RFP, RFQ, and it came back with millions of dollars that was needed. You did an RFP.
But what we trying to do now, you got to look at your lift station that was built in 1967, and the only thing we've been doing is putting Band-Aid. And right now the pipes on the inside is completed. That whole lift station really need to be gutted out because, if we don't take action now, we right there by a creek.
And you need EPA serious fine.
Yes.
You have a serious violation.
So all I'm saying to you is, We need to discuss that debt tonight. That's what the purpose of the budget is.
2.5 million?
No, I mean, we really looking at, we need 5 million to tell somebody to go on and start.
And where would that money come from, city manager?
Well, we had 5 million in 2020, and it was taken from us and given to the GICC. We haven't received those funds back.
You won't get that.
So, you know.
Councilor, we working feverishly with EPA to try to get the 2.5, and then we'll do the matching fund, and then we'll use some of this most money to.
So what about those contingencies that's throughout this? Because the lift stations, not that we're trying to spend money, but I'm hearing all the time, this is serious.
Oh, yes.
You keep telling me.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, right now, you know, we just pray that anything happen. You know, we don't even have our generator.
So what do you mean you don't have your generator?
It's not working. It's not working.
The generator, the backup generator?
The backup generator.
Okay, so is repair funding in this budget for the generator?
No, I mean.
What would that cost, or is that in contingency?
Well, when we got a quote to replace, we was looking at about $100,000. That's to replace it.
I'm back.
So we, you know, we.
Well, the city.
Do you have that in contingency if you have to replace the generator?
Mr. Jackson, can you give us a total of the contingencies?
Yes.
Back to the
And then
bump.
that way we may be able to make a decision on having monies available to go ahead and take care of the lift station.
Okay.
Let me ask another question. City attorney told me before we took the money out of the TPD fund, he says, listen, y'all could also not take this money out, do bond debt, and use this money to service bond debt. So, well, let me just do this question. If we covered the debt at the GICC out of their budget when we see it, could we conceivably take that savings and give it to you to pay for this lift station? Can we cover some of the GICs, which is an eligible use of funds, or have we spent all the TPD? You get my point? Could we cover some of the GICC debt in 2025, 26 with TPD and use that revenue to cover the lift station if you don't want to do a bond?
Can we look into that? And just, I mean, that might be that's a fairly complicated question, and that maybe staff can get back to us on that.
Well, can I ask you a question? Over the next, before the budget is done, can they come back in a workshop or something and talk about this lift station, where we are really in the repair and what it could cost, so we don't get blindsided?
So you're talking about at the negative meeting?
Yeah.
Which is, we're still being budget.
Yeah, cause you met with professionals out there, y'all did an RFQ, right?
Yes, I mean,
You got-
to my knowledge, Kemet Construction won the bid. There was only 2 companies that came out.
That's for 3.2, you know, that's doing the 20% match and then the 2.5 from the, you know, from the federal government. But I've searched my file, I think I have like 6, about, you know, to do the whole thing few years when you were talking about, that's close to $6 million back then. So with inflation and all this, probably about $8 million right
You just said Kimmy came out and gave you.
That was for the 2.5. That's when they did the pre-bid.
This year?
Yeah, this year.
So it's not 8, it's 2.5.
That's half of the
It needs to be from the ground up.
Yeah.
The wiring, everything is bad. The roof leaking.
So then it goes back to the number you just said.
Yeah.
So maybe we do need to get a little bit more information, a better understanding of the problem. If it's done from ground up, if it's a half job, just get a better understanding of it. I think that Councilmember Gay has some very valid and salient points about it. So we should talk more in depth about it.
That's a big repair, so yeah, let's look at what we got.
Are there any other questions on any of the budget items tonight?
I I wanna make a comment. I like to personally say that I think y'all have done an amazing job, from city manager's office to the finance office. I'm impressed for them to be relatively new and to make this move. I'm just really at awe, and I hope the public also sees that too, so that's my comment.
All right. All right, so we are adjourned. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Promise I'll leave my keys.